Custom picture settings 126 black master pedestal, 52 plus 50, plus or minus 0, increases or decreases the black level. Higher settings will make dark areas brighter but decrease contrast. This setting is not available when the gamma curve component of the gamma/color space setting is set to one of the Canon Log 2 or Canon Log 3 options. Master black red, master black green, master black blue, 52 plus 50, plus or minus 0, these settings correct the color cast in blacks. These settings are not available when the gamma curve component of the gamma/color space setting is set to one of the Canon Log 2 or Canon Log 3 options. Black gamma level, 52 plus 50, plus or minus 0, range, point, 22 plus 50, plus or minus 0, these settings control the lower part of the gamma curve, dark areas of the image. These settings are only available when the gamma curve component of the gamma/color space setting is set to one of the BT.709 normal or BT.709 standard options. Level, raises or lowers the lower part of the gamma curve. Range, selects the adjustment range from the selected point. Point, determines the shape of the lower part of the gamma curve. Low-key saturation activate on, offset this setting to on to enable the adjustment of color saturation in dark areas with the level setting. Level, 52 plus 50, plus or minus 0, specifies how saturated colors are in dark areas. Knee activate on, offset this setting to on to enable the adjustment of the knee point with the following settings. These settings are only available when the gamma curve component of the gamma/color space setting is set to one of the BT.709 normal or BT.709 standard options. Automatic on, offset this setting to on to enable the automatic adjustment of the knee settings. Slope, 35 to plus 50, plus or minus 0, 0.50 to 109, 95, saturation, 10 to plus 10, plus or minus 0, these settings control the upper part of the gamma curve, highlights of the image. By compressing the highlights, you can prevent parts of the image from being overexposed. Slope, determines the slope of the gamma curve above the knee point. Point, sets the knee point of the gamma curve. Saturation, adjusts the color saturation in the highlights. Menu items options / additional information input output point range level input input slope point 127 custom picture settings sharpness level 10 to plus 50 plus or minus 0 sets the sharpness level of the video output signal and the recorded signal. Detail frequency 8 to plus 8 plus or minus 0 sets the center frequency of horizontal sharpness. Setting higher values increases the frequency, which, in turn, increases the sharpness. Coring level, 30 to plus 50, plus or minus 0, sets the level of correction of artifacts caused by high sharpness levels, coring. Higher values prevent sharpness from being applied to minute details, resulting in less noise. Limit, 50 to plus 50, plus or minus 0, restricts how much sharpness is applied. Noise reduction automatic off, on spatial filter off, 1 to 12 reduces noise by applying a soft focus-like effect on the entire picture. When set to a value other than off, after images are not produced but the whole image will have a softer look. Frame correlation off, 1 to 3 reduces noise elements by comparing the current image to the previous one, field. When set to a value other than off, the perceived resolution will not be affected but an after image may appear for moving subjects. Skin detail effect level off, low, middle, high hue, 16 to plus 16, plus or minus 0, chroma, area, Y level 0 to 31, 16, the camera applies a softening filter to areas in the picture with skin tones to give a more pleasant appearance. By changing these settings, you can determine what areas will be detected as skin tones. A zebra pattern will appear on the screen or video output terminal over areas of the image that are detected as having skin tones. Effect level, adjusts the level of the filter. Hue, adjusts the hue for detection of skin tones. Chroma, adjusts the color saturation for detection of skin tones. area, adjusts the color range for detection of skin tones. Y level, adjusts the brightness for detection of skin tones. Color matrix tuning gain, 50 to plus 50, plus or minus 0, phase, 18 to plus 18, plus or minus 0, these settings adjust the color intensity, gain, and color phase, of the color matrix, affecting the color tones of the whole image. RG, RB, GR, GB, BR, BG, 50 to plus 50, plus or minus 0, each matrix changes the tint of the picture along the color gradations detailed below, affecting the color tones of the whole image. RG, cyan/green and red/magenta, RB, cyan/blue and red/yellow, GR, magenta/red and green/cyan, GB, magenta/blue and green/yellow, BR, yellow/red and blue/cyan, BG, yellow/green and blue/magenta. Menu items options/additional information custom picture settings 128 1 These settings cannot be changed during recording or IP streaming, with the exception of pre-recording. Notes: the following settings are not available when infrared recording is activated: color matrix HLG color low key saturation skin detail color matrix tuning white balance color correction. Depending on other menu settings, you may not be able to obtain the desired image effect even after changing the custom picture settings. White balance or gain, B. Gain, 50 to plus 50, plus or minus 0. These settings adjust the amount of white balance throughout the whole image by changing the intensity of red tones, R gain, and blue tones, B gain. Color correction 1 Select area off, area A, area B, area A and B. The camera detects areas with certain color characteristics, color phase, chroma, area, and Y level, and corrects them when recording. You can set the color correction for up to 2 different areas, A and B, and apply the color correction to either one, area A or area B, or both of them, area A and B. While color correction is activated, parts of the image that are not detected as having the characteristics specified for area A or B will appear colorless on the screen or the image output from the output terminals, except when adjusting the revision level/revision phase settings. Area A setting phase, area B setting phase 0 to 31, 0. These settings determine the color phase of the area to be corrected, A or B, respectively. Area A setting chroma, area B setting chroma, area A setting area, area B setting area, area A setting Y level, area B setting Y level 0 to 31, 16. These settings determine the following color characteristics of the area to be corrected, A or B, respectively. Area A setting chroma, area B setting chroma, color saturation. Area A setting area, area B setting area, color range. Area A setting Y level, area B setting Y level, brightness. Area A revision level, area B revision level, 50 to plus 50, plus or minus 0. These settings adjust the amount of correction applied to the color saturation in the corrected area, A or B, respectively. Area A revision phase, area B revision phase, 18 to plus 18, plus or minus 0. These settings adjust the amount of correction applied to the color phase in the corrected area, A or B, respectively. Other functions over 100% through, press, clip determines how the camera handles video signals exceeding 100%. This setting is not available when the gamma curve component of the gamma/color space setting is set to one of the Canon Log3, PQ or HLG options. Through, leave the signal unchanged. Press, compress a signal of up to 108% down to 100% levels. Clip, clip the signal at 100%. Menu items options/additional information 129 Custom picture settings. When an RCV100 remote controller is connected to the camera, the following custom picture settings can be changed using the buttons and dials on the remote controller: black master pedestal, master black red, master black blue black gamma level knee automatic, slope, point, only when knee activate is set to on, dash sharpness level dash white balance R gain, B gain saving and loading. Menu settings 130 saving and loading menu settings. After you adjust settings in the various menus, you can save those settings in the camera or on SD card B. You can load those settings at a later date or on another camera of the same model so that you can use that camera in the same way. Saving menu settings 1 select B system setup transfer menu / save. 2 select to camera or to SD card B and then select OK. The camera's menu settings will be saved to the selected destination. If menu settings were previously saved, the old file will be overwritten by the current menu settings. Loading menu settings 1 select B system setup transfer menu / load. 2 select from camera or from SD card B and then select OK. The camera's menu settings will be replaced by the settings in the previously saved file. Then, the screen will turn black momentarily and the camera will restart. Notes: the following menu settings are not saved with this operation: V camera setup color bars AE recording / media setup metadata news metadata AE recording / media setup metadata user memo A assistance functions magnification, MAN. Output: the root certificate for secure FTP transfers is not saved. When menu settings are loaded with this operation, even protected custom picture files in the camera will be replaced. 131 Playback. This section explains how to play back files recorded with the camera. For details on playing back recordings using an external monitor, refer to connecting to an external monitor or external recorder, A146. Displaying the index screen 1 press the Q switch and set it to on. 2 press the media button, A14, the camera is set to media mode and the clip thumbnails will appear in the index screen. Use the joystick to move the orange selection frame. Flick up / down on the screen to move to the next / previous page. 1 XF605 clips only. 2 for clips recorded using slow and fast motion recording, the shooting frame rate and playback frame rate will both be displayed. 10118 16 41275 6319 1817 13 15 14 12 9 1 key lock, A15, 2 shot Mark 1, A139, $3 Mark 1 /% Mark 1, A139, 4 orange selection frame 5 proxy clip, A55, 6 clip identification, camera index, reel number, clip number, and clip/audio file name, a 37, 7 recording date and time 8 network status/functions, A175, 9 recording media / an orange dot will be displayed next to the card currently selected. 10 index screen currently displayed, A132, 11 clip. Thumbnail 12 power supply level, A45, 13 clip number / total number of clips 14 recording date, month and day only, and time 15 clip S start time code 16 clip duration 17 custom picture file embedded 1, A124, 18 special recording mode, A107, 19 color sampling and resolution, audio recording format 20 frame rate 2, A54, playback 132 notes. If the card contains XF605 clips recorded at a system frequency other than the one currently used by the camera, you will not be able to play back the clips and the clip. Thumbnails will not appear in the index screen. To play back such clips, change the camera's system frequency, A54, to match the recordings on the card. Switching card slots: if both card slots contain a card, press the slot select button to play back recordings from the other card. You can also switch card slots by touching the orange dot next to the card currently selected. Switching index screens: the clip index screen that appears when you switch to media mode depends on the current recording settings. 1. Press the index button. The index screen selection menu appears. You can also touch the recording format on the index screen to display the index screen selection menu. 2. Select the desired index screen. The selected index screen appears. You can also select an index screen by touching the respective recording format displayed on the screen. Select Cancel to return to the previous index screen. Options: XF605 index clips in XF605 format. MP4 index clips in MP4 format. Photo index photos recorded on the card. Wave index audio files in WAV format. 133 Playback playing back recordings after selecting the desired index screen, play back the desired clips, photos, or audio files. You can use the touch screen, assignable buttons, or joystick to play back the recordings. Touch the thumbnail of the recording you want to play back. Playback will start. You can also move the orange selection frame using the joystick, and then press and hold the joystick, for approximately 1 second, to start playback. Touch the screen to display the pause icon, Y, then touch it to pause playback. You can also press the joystick to pause/resume playback. Press the index button or flick the screen down to stop the playback and return to the index screen. While browsing photos, press the joystick left/right to move to the previous/next photo. Notes: the following image files may not be displayed correctly. Images not recorded with this camera. Images edited on a computer. Images whose file names have been changed. Playback 134 on-screen displays during clip. Playback 1 only when sent. Monitoring setup. Custom display date/time is set to on. 2 for clips recorded using slow and fast motion recording, the shooting frame rate and playback frame rate will both be displayed. 3 XF605 clips only. 4 only when sent. Monitoring setup. Custom display audio level indicator is set to on. 5 only when sent. Monitoring setup. Custom display camera data is set to on. Notes: you can press the DISP button repeatedly to change the level of on-screen displays. A46 78910 182120226191723 165 6421 1312 143 15 1 fan operation, A40, and temperature warning, A214, 2 LUT, A150, 3 output on-screen displays, A147, 4 playback button advance 10 seconds go back 10 seconds 5 recording date and time 16 frame reverse button frame advance button 7 playback operation 8 frame rate 2, A54, 9 custom picture file embedded 3, A124, $10 Mark 3/% Mark 3/proxy clip, A55. 139, 11 time code, A86, 12 video format, A54, 13 color sampling and color bit depth, A54, 14 resolution, A54, 15 headphone volume, A136, 16 audio level meter 417 aperture value 5, A63, 18 ISO speed/gain 5, A60, 19 progress bar 20 high sensitivity mode recording, A61, 21 shutter speed 5, A58, 22 user bit, A88, 23 audio output channels, A155, D-play playback Y pause playback pause 10 SEC times advance 10 seconds O 10 SEC go back 10 seconds O/off frame reverse/frame advance FFWD X5 fast forward, speed, X5, FFWD X15 fast forward, speed, X15, FFWD X60 fast forward, speed, X60, FREV X5 rewind, speed, X5, FREV X15 rewind, speed, X15, FREV X60 rewind, speed. X60, 135 playback wave file playback screen. See on-screen displays during clip playback, A134, for the description of on-screen displays that are common on all playback screens. Clip playback controls. The following playback types are available using the joystick and the touch screen. You can also change the position in the video using the progress bar. 1. You may notice some anomalies, blocky video artifacts, banding, etc., in the playback picture. 2. The speed indicated on the screen is approximate. Notes: there is no audio during any of the playback types listed in the previous table. Playback type operation. Fast playback. 1. During playback, push the joystick up or down. Repeat to increase the playback speed to approximately 5x 15x 60x the normal speed. 2. Advance 10 seconds during playback, touch the right side of the screen twice. During playback pause, touch on the right side of the screen. Go back 10 seconds during playback, touch the left side of the screen twice. During playback pause, touch on the left side of the screen. Frame advance/reverse during playback pause, push the joystick up or down, or touch O/O skip to the beginning of the next clip during playback/playback pause, push the joystick right or flick the screen to the left. Skip to the beginning of the current clip during playback/playback pause, push the joystick left. Skip to the previous clip during playback, push the joystick left twice. During playback/playback pause, flick the screen to the right. Change the playback/playback pause position in the video during playback/playback pause, touch or slide the progress bar. 1231 audio file name 2 sampling frequency and bit depth 3 audio level meter left side right side playback 136 adjusting the volume. You can use headphones or the built-in speaker to listen to the audio during normal playback. When you connect headphones to the Times headphone terminal, the speaker will be muted. The audio signal will also be output from the SDI out terminal and the HDMI out terminal. 1. Select audio setup headphone volume or speaker volume. 2. Select the desired level. Notes for details on changing the audio channel, refer to audio output channels, A155. If you set an assignable button to headphones plus or headphones, A117, you can press the button to adjust the headphone volume without using the menu. Times, headphone, terminal built-in speaker 137 file operations. You can perform various operations on the file selected in the index screen using the file menu. Available options will depend on the type of recording selected. File menu operations. 1. Select the desired recording. 2. Press set. The file menu will be displayed. Available functions will differ depending on the recording. You can also touch the screen for approximately 1 second to display the file menu. 3. Select a menu item. File menu options. 1. Excluding proxy clips. 2. If the clip already contains an $ or % mark, the option to delete the mark will appear in the menu. Menu item description. Index screen XF605 MP4 photos. Wave cancel closes the menu. UUU play starts playback. UUU display clip info displays the information screen. A138.UU, add $mark or delete $mark 1, 2 adds or deletes an $mark, A139, 139.U, add %mark or delete %mark 1, 2 adds or deletes a %mark, A139, 139.U, del. All shot marks. 1 deletes all the shot marks, A140.U, recover recovers a recording. UU deletes a recording, A140.UU delete user memo deletes the user memo and GPS information of a clip, A140. UU FTP transfers a clip using the FTP protocol, A176.UU stop ends photo playback. U file operations 138 displaying clip information. 1 Select the desired clip in the clip index screen. 2 On the file menu, select display clip info. The clip info screen will appear. Push the joystick left/right to move to the previous/next clip. Press the cancel button to return to the index screen. 1 Int Rec, FRM Rec, or SNF Rec will be displayed depending on the special recording mode. 2 For clips recorded using slow and fast motion recording, the shooting frame rate and playback frame rate will both be displayed. 3 XF605 clips only. Displaying user memo/news metadata from the clip info screen, you can push the joystick up or down, or touch / on the screen to display user memo or news metadata details. To return to the clip info screen, push the joystick in the direction displayed to the left of clip info at the bottom of the screen, / or touch clip info at the top of the screen. Displaying custom picture settings. If a custom picture file was embedded with the clip, you can push the joystick up or down, or touch / on the screen to display the custom picture settings used. To return to the clip info screen, push the joystick in the direction displayed to the left of clip info at the bottom of the screen, / or touch clip info at the top of the screen. 713-268-13-12-11-14-15-16-9-10-4-5-1 Thumbnail of the selected clip. 2 Clip geotagged with GPS information. 3 Thumbnail of the previous clip. 4 Thumbnail of the next clip. 5 Special recording mode. 1 A107. 6 Recording date and time. 7 Clip file name, A37. 8 Compression, bitrate, and resolution, A53. 9 Frame rate. 2 A54. 10 Shot mark, A139, and $mark/% mark. 3 A139. 11 Custom picture file embedded. 3 A124. 12 Proxy clip, A55. 13 Color sampling. 3 and color bit depth, A54. 14 Clip S start time code. 15 Clip S end time code. 16 Clip duration. 139 File operations. Adding $marks or % marks. You can add an OK mark, dollar, or check mark, %, to XF605 clips to help you identify particular clips. Since clips with an $mark cannot be deleted with the camera, you can use this mark also to protect important clips. Adding an $mark or % mark during playback. You can add an $mark or % mark to a clip during playback or playback pause. 1 Set an assignable button to add $mark or add % mark, A117. 2 During playback/playback pause of an XF605 clip, press the assignable button to add the clip mark. $mark or % mark will appear briefly and the selected clip mark will be added to the clip. Playback will be paused. Adding an $mark or % mark from the index screen. 1 Select the desired clip from the XF605 index screen. 2 Press Set, File menu, and select Add $mark or add % mark. OK. The selected clip mark is added to the clip. Notes: a clip cannot have both an $mark and % mark at the same time. When you add a % mark to a clip with an $mark, the $mark will be deleted. Similarly, when you add an $mark to a clip with a % mark, the % mark will be deleted. Deleting $marks or % marks. You can delete an $mark or % mark added to an XF605 clip. 1 Select the desired clip from the XF605 index screen. 2 Press Set, File menu, and select Delete $mark or Delete % mark. OK. The selected mark is deleted. Adding/deleting shot marks during the playback of a clip recorded in XF605 format. You can add shot marks to particular frames in the clip that you want to single out. You can also delete all shot marks at once. Adding shot marks during playback. 1 Set an assignable button to add shot mark, A117. 2 During playback/playback pause of an XF605 clip, press the assignable button at the point in the clip where you want to add the shot mark. Shot mark will appear briefly and the shot mark will be added to the current frame of the clip. Playback will be paused. File operations. 140 Deleting all the shot marks from a clip. 1 Select the desired XF605 clip in the index screen. 2 Press Set, File menu, and select Del. All shot marks. OK. All shot marks in the selected clip are deleted. Deleting recordings. You can delete clips, photos, and audio files in WAV format. To delete clips with an $mark, you need to delete the $mark beforehand, A139. 1 Select the desired file in the index screen. Photos are selectable on the playback screen. 2 Press Set, File menu, and select Delete. OK. The file is deleted. The operation cannot be cancelled. Important: be careful when deleting recordings. Once deleted, they cannot be recovered. Deleting the user memo and GPS information from a clip. 1 Select the desired clip in the index screen. 2 Press Set, File menu, and select Delete User Memo. OK. The user memo and GPS information that were recorded in the selected clip's metadata are deleted. 141 External connections. Video output configuration. The video signal output from the SDI out terminal or the HMIT out terminal depends on the clip's video configuration and on various menu settings. HDMI out terminal. Video output configuration, recording, Main recording video configuration B system setup video output configuration 1 B system setup video output configuration 1 main recording format resolution frame rate HDMI output signal HDMI out terminal 2 SDI output signal SDI out terminal 2 XFAVC MP4 HEVC MP4 H.264 3840 x 2160 59.94 p 50.00 p 3840 x 2160 p 3840 x 2160 3840 x 2160 p 3840 x 2160 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 10801920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 59.94 I/50.00 I 1920 x 1080 I, PSF, 1920 x 1080 59.94 I/50.00 I 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 x 720 p 1280 x 720 720 x 480 I 3 720 x 576 I 3 720 x 480 59.94 I 720 x 576 50.00 I 29.97 p 25.00 p 3840 x 2160 p 3840 x 2160 3840 x 2160 p 3840 x 2160 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 59.94 I/50.00 I 1920 x 1080 I, PSF, 1920 x 1080 29 97 PSF, 59.94 I/25.00 PSF, 50.00 I, 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p/50.00 p 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p/50.00 p 720 x 480 I 3 720 x 576 I 3 720 x 480 29.97 PSF, 59.94 I, 720 x 576 25.00 PSF, 50.00 I, 23.98 p 3840 x 2160 p 3840 x 2160 3840 x 2160 p 3840 x 2160 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 59.94 I 1920 x 1080 I, PSF, 1920 x 1080 59.94 I 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p 720 x 480 I 720 x 480 59.94 I video output configuration 142 1 in most cases. The output signal's frame rate will be the same as that used for recording, except when slow and fast motion recording is activated. 2-color sampling will be YCC for 2210-bit. The video signal's effective bit depth will be output. 3 available options depend on the system frequency. When the camcorder's language is set to simplified Chinese, the setting is not available. Conversely, when this resolution is selected, simplified Chinese will not appear as one of the camcorder's language options. 4 only when AE recording/media setup main rec format is set to XFAVC YCC for 2210-bit. XFAVC MP4, HEVC, MP4, H.264, 1920 x 1080 59.94 p 50.00 p 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 10801920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 59.94 I/50.00 I 1920 x 1080 I, PSF, 1920 x 1080 59.94 I/50.00 I 1280 x 720p 1280 x 7201280 x 720p 1280 x 720 720 x 480 I 3 720 x 576 I 3 720 x 480 59.94 I 720 x 576 50.00 I 59.94 I 450.00 I 4 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 I PSF 1920 x 1080 1280 x 720p 1280 x 720 59.94p slash 50.00p 1280 x 720p 1280 x 720 59.94p slash 50.00p 720 x 480 I 3 720 x 576 I 3 720 x 480 59.94 I 720 x 576 50.00 I 29.97 p 25.00 p 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 59.94 I slash 50.00 I 1920 x 1080 I PSF 1920 x 1080 29.97 PSF 59.94 I slash 25.00 PSF 50.00 I 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p slash 50.00 p 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p slash 50.00 p 720 x 480 I 3 720 x 576 I 3 720 x 480 29.97 PSF 59.94 I 720 x 576 25.00 PSF 50.00 I 23.98 p 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 59.94 I 1920 x 1080 I PSF 1920 x 1080 59.94 I 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p 720 x 480 I 720 x 480 59.94 I 1280 x 720 59.94 p 50.00 p 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 x 720 p 1280 x 720 720 x 480 I 3 720 x 576 I 3 720 x 480 59.94 I 720 x 576 50.00 I main recording video configuration B system setup video output configuration 1 B system setup video output configuration 1 main recording format resolution frame rate HDMI output signal HDMI out terminal 2 SDI output signal SDI out terminal 2143 video output configuration video output configuration playback main recording video configuration B system setup video output configuration 1 B system setup video output configuration 1 main recording format resolution frame rate HDMI output signal HDMI out terminal 2 SDI output signal SDI out terminal 2 XFAVC MP4 HEVC MP4 H.264 3840 x 216 59.94 p 50.00 p 3840 x 2160 p 3840 x 2160 3840 x 2160 p 3840 x 2160 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 59.94 I slash 50.00 I 1920 x 1080 I PSF 1920 x 1080 59.94 I slash 50.00 I 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 720x480 i3 720x576 i3 720x480 59.94 i 720x576 50.00 i 29.97 p 25.00 p 3840 x 2160 p 3840 x 2160 3840 x 2160 p 3840 x 2160 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 59.94 I slash 50.00 I 1920 x 1080 I PSF 1920 x 1080 29.97 PSF 59.94 I slash 25.00 PSF 50.00 I 1280x720p 1280x720 59.94p slash 50.00p 1280x720p 1280x720 59.94p slash 50.00p 720x480 i3 720x576 i3 720x480 29.97 PSF 59.94 I 720x576 25.00 PSF 50.00 I 23.98 p 3840 x 2160 p 3840 x 2160 3840 x 2160 p 3840 x 2160 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 59.94 I 1920 x 1080 I PSF 1920 x 1080 59.94 I 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p 720x480 I 720x480 59.94 I video output configuration 144 XFAVC MP4, HEVC, MP4, H.264, 1920 x 1080 59.94 p 50.00 p 3840 x 2160 p 1920 x 1080 3840 x 2160 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 59.94 I slash 50.00 I 1920 x 1080 I PSF 1920 x 1080 59.94 I slash 50.00 I 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 720 x 480 I 3 720 x 576 I 3 720 x 480 59.94 I 720 x 576 50.00 I 59.94 I 50.00 I 3840 x 2160 p 1920 x 1080 3840 x 2160 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 I PSF 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p slash 50.00 p 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p slash 50.00 p 720 x 480 I 3 720 x 576 I 3 720 x 480 720 x 576 29.97 p 25.00 p 3840 x 2160 p 1920 x 1080 3840 x 2160 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 59 94 I slash 50.00 I 1920 x 1080 I PSF 1920 x 1080 29.97 PSF 59.94 I slash 25.00 PSF 50.00 I 1280 x 720p 1280 x 720 59.94p / 50.00p 1280 x 720p 1280 x 720 59.94p / 50.00p 720 x 480 i3 720 x 576 i3 720 x 480 29.97 psf 59.94 i 720 x 576 25.00 psf 50.00 i 23.98 p 3840 x 2160 p 1920 x 1080 3840 x 2160 p 1920 x 1080 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 i 1920 x 1080 59.94 i 1920 x 1080 i PSF 1920 x 1080 59.94 I 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p 720 x 480 I 720 x 480 59.94 I 1280 x 720 9.94 p 50.00 p 3840 x 2160 p 1280 x 720 3840 x 2160 p 1280 x 720 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 I PSF 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 p 720 x 480 i 3 720 x 576 i 3 720 x 480 59.94 i 720 x 576 50.00 I main recording video configuration B system setup video output configuration 1 B system setup video output configuration 1 main recording format resolution frame rate HDMI output signal HDMI out terminal 2 SDI output signal SDI out terminal 2145 video output configuration 1 in most cases. The output signal's frame rate will be the same as that used for recording. 2 color sampling will be YCC 422 10-bit. The video signal's effective bit depth will be output. 3 available options depend on the system frequency. MP4, H.264, 1280 x 720 29.97 p 25.00 p 3840 x 2160 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p / 50.00 p 3840 x 2160 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p / 50.00 p 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 I PSF 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 p 720 x 480 I 3 720 x 576 I 3 720 x 480 29.97 PSF 59.94 I 720 x 576 25.00 PSF 50.00 I 23.98 p 3840 x 2160 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p 3840 x 2160 p 1280 x 720 59.94 p / 50.00 p 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 p 1920 x 1080 I 1920 x 1080 I PSF 1280 x 720 p 1280 x 720 p 720 x 480 I 720 x 480 59.94 I main recording video configuration B system setup video output configuration 1 B system setup video output configuration 1 main recording format resolution frame rate HDMI output signal HDMI out terminal 2 SDI output signal SDI out terminal 2 connecting to an external monitor or external recorder 146 connecting to an external monitor or external recorder when you connect the camera to an external device. Be it a monitor, to monitor the recording or for playback, or an external video recorder, for recording, adjust the required settings in the menu. For details about output signals, refer to Video Output Configuration, A141. Connection diagram notes powering the camera from a power outlet using an AC adapter is recommended. Using the SDI out terminal, the digital signal that is output from the SDI out terminal includes the video signal, audio signal, timecode signal and the recording command signal. When using the SDI out terminal, you can output various assistance displays, on-screen displays, markers, etc., in order to check them also on an external monitor. 1. Select B system setup SDI output on. 2. To change the 3G SDI mapping level, select B system setup 3G SDI mapping level A or level B. You can select a video output signal compliant with level A or level B of the SMPT ST425-1 standard. SD resolution output. Select the desired output method when outputting in SD resolution. Select B system setup SD resize on output desired option. Notes: you can set a recording/media setup rec command, EXT-rec, to use the camera's rec button to control also the recording operation of an external recorder connected to the SDI out terminal. However, the recording command will not be output during slow and fast motion recording, interval recording, frame recording, or continuous recording, so this function cannot be used when said recording modes are activated. When the frame rate is 23.98p and SDI output signal is set to 1280x720p, the frame's value of the timecode output from the SDI out terminal will be converted so it runs from 0 to 29. SDI out terminal HDMI cable, commercially available, BNC cable, commercially available, HDMI in SDI in 147 connecting to an external monitor or external recorder when outputting in SD resolution and using the magnification function, SD resize on output will be locked to squeeze. Using the HDMI out terminal, the digital signal that is output from the HDMI out terminal includes the video signal and audio signal. You can output also the timecode signal, recording command, and various assistance displays, on-screen displays, markers, etc., in order to check them also on an external monitor. In camera mode, the camera's timecode can be output as well. 1. Connect the HDMI cable to the HDMI out terminal. 2. Select B system setup HDMI output signal desired option. 3. To output the timecode signal, select a recording/media setup HDMI timecode on. Notes: you can set B system setup link to HDMI monitor on to automatically change the HDMI out terminal's output resolution according to the capabilities of the connected monitor. When this setting is set to off, the output resolution is set according to the menu settings, and if the connected monitor is not compatible with the signal output from the camera, HDMI output will stop. The HDMI out terminal is for output only. Do not connect the camera to another device's output terminal using the HDMI out terminal, as this will cause a malfunction. Correct operation cannot be guaranteed when connecting the camera to DVI monitors. Video may not be output correctly depending on the connected external monitor/recorder or the HDMI cable used. In such case, use another terminal. If the camera's timecode is being output and a recording/media setup rec command, EXT-rec, is set to on, you can use the camera's rec button to control also the recording operation of an external recorder connected to the HDMI out terminal. During slow and fast motion recording, interval recording, or frame recording, the recording command will not be output. The timecode will not be output from the HDMI out terminal in the following cases in media mode. If B system setup HDMI output signal is set to 1280x720p, when the frame rate is set to 23.98p, the frame's value of the timecode output from the HDMI out terminal will be converted so it runs from 0 to 29. Superimposing on-screen displays on video outputs. You can output the camera's on-screen displays along with the video output from the SDI out terminal or the HDMI out terminal to check the on-screen displays on an external monitor. You can also adjust the opacity level of superimposed on-screen displays. This setting will not affect your recordings. Select Scent Monitoring Setup. One of the OSD output settings on. T appears on the right of the screen, in camera mode, only if scent monitoring setup custom display to OSD output is set to on. Notes: if you set an assignable button to one of the OSD output settings, you can press the button to turn the camera's on-screen displays on and off. Connecting to an external monitor or external recorder. 148 Changing the opacity level of on-screen displays. You can make on-screen displays more visible or less conspicuous by changing their opacity level. You can select to which screens to apply the opacity levels. 1. To change the visibility of on-screen displays on individual video outputs, select Scent Monitoring Setup, desired OSD opacity setting on. 2. Select Scent Monitoring Setup OSD opacity level, desired option. The smaller the percentage, the more transparent the on-screen displays. 3. Select Scent Monitoring Setup OSD opacity, APPL screens, all or only rec/playback screens. You can apply the selected opacity level to all on-screen displays, including menus, etc., or only to on-screen displays on the shooting and playback screens. Notes: if you set an assignable button to one of the OSD opacity settings, you can press the button to change the opacity level of on-screen displays on the corresponding video outputs. Selecting the output range. You can select the output range of video signals, when using log gamma or PQ/HLG HDR, output from the SDI out terminal or the HDMI out terminal, to determine how the image levels are mapped to code values. Moreover, you can select the setting independently for Canon log output and for HDR output. Applied output range settings. Custom picture file. Applied range settings. Gamma look file. Gamma/color space. After the look file is applied, Scent Monitoring Setup range, SDI/range. HDMI Canon log 3 off. During Canon log output on, conform to custom picture PQ off. During HDR output on, conform to custom picture HLG off. On, conform to custom picture BT.709 YDR off. Fixed narrow range on, conform to custom picture BT.709 normal off. On, conform to custom picture BT.709 standard off. On, conform to custom picture on SDR BT.709 SDR BT.2020 HDR PQ, BT.2100, during HDR output HDR HLG, BT.2100, 149 Connecting to an external monitor or external recorder when using the SDI out terminal. 1. Select Scent Monitoring Setup range, SDI. 2. Select during Canon log output or during HDR output, desired option. Repeat the procedure as necessary to select the output range for other terminals or output signals. Options for range: SDI full range, the signal output will use full range coding. Narrow range, the signal output will use narrow range, video range, coding. When using the HDMI out terminal. 1. Select Scent Monitoring Setup range, HDMI. 2. Select during Canon log output or during HDR output, desired option. Options: full range priority, the signal output will use full range coding whenever possible but will change the range automatically according to the capabilities of the connected monitor. Narrow range, the signal output will use narrow range, video range, coding. Note: settings will change depending on the gamma curve component of the gamma/color space setting in the custom picture file and the gamma/color space setting after a look file has been applied. When a LUT is applied, settings will change also depending on the gamma curve selected for the output signal. If a user LUT is applied, the output range will be determined by the user LUT's range, output, setting. During playback, the applied range is determined according to the gamma used at the time of recording. Applying a LUT/the view assistance function to the LCD screen. 150 Applying a LUT/the view assistance function to the LCD screen while recording using special gamma curves. You can apply a LUT to the image output from the SDI out terminal or the view assistance function to the image displayed on the screen and video output from the HDMI out terminal. These functions change the color space, and in some settings, the gamma curve, used, making it easier to check the image on the display device used. Whether or not a LUT/the view assistance function can be used, and the available LUTs, depend on the gamma/color space and look file settings in the custom picture file, A123. LUTs list of LUTs available. LUTs applied. LUT output settings with LUT applied. Description gamma color space BT.709 BT.709 wide DR BT.709 LUT for viewing on external monitors compatible with BT.709 specifications. BT.2020 BT.709 wide DR BT.2020 LUT for viewing on external monitors compatible with ITUR BT.2020 standards, which define parameters for ultra-high definition television, 4K/8K. DC IDSID CP3 LUT for viewing on external monitors that support color spaces and gamma curves that follow the guidelines established by DCI, Digital Cinema Initiatives. PQ BT.2020 LUT for viewing HDR, high dynamic range, images on external monitors compatible with the PQ standard defined by ITUR BT.2100. The signal output will use narrow range, video range, coding. HLG BT.2020 LUT for viewing HDR, high dynamic range, images on external monitors compatible with the HLG standard defined by ITUR BT.2100. The signal output will use narrow range, video range, coding. User LUT1 to user LUT4 registered gamma curve BT.709, BT.2020, unchanged LUT for viewing on the LCD screen. Used to check the registered gamma curve, as well as the color space and range settings. Custom picture file available. LUT's look file gamma/color space after the look file is applied. BT.709 BT.2020 DCI PQ HLG user LUT1 to user LUT4 off. See the following table. A. On conform to custom picture SDR BT.709, SDR BT.2020 U, HDR PQ, BT.2100, U, HDR HLG, BT.2100, U, 151 applying a LUT/the view assistance function to the LCD screen. Available LUTs. A. View assistance list of view assistances. 1 only sent monitoring setup view assist, HDMI can be selected. 2 excluding sent monitoring setup view assist, HDMI. Available view assistances. Custom picture file available. LUTs gamma/color space BT.709 BT.2020 DCI PQ HLG user LUT1 to user LUT4 Canon. Log3/C. Gamut UUU Canon log3/BT.2020 UUU Canon log3/BT.709 UPQ/BT.2020 HLG/BT.2020 BT.709 wide DR/BT.2020 BT.709 wide DR/BT.709 BT.709 normal/BT.2020 BT.709 normal/BT.709 BT.709 standard/BT.709 Applied view assistance output settings with view assistance applied. Description gamma color space BT.709 or on, BT.709, 1 equivalent to BT.709 wide DR equivalent to BT.709 view assistance for viewing on the LCD screen. HDR assist. 800%, 2 original gamma curve equivalent to BT.709 view assistance for viewing HDR, high dynamic range, images. The view assistance follows the ITUR BT.2100 transfer function to convert a brightness range of 800% or 400% respectively into a linear brightness scale. HDR assist. 400%, 2 custom picture file available. View assistances look file gamma/color space after the look file is applied. BT.709 HDR assist. 800%, HDR assist. 400%, off. See the following table. B. On conform to custom picture SDR BT.709, SDR BT.2020 U, HDR PQ, BT.2100, U, UHDR HLG, BT.2100, U, applying a LUT/the view assistance function to the LCD screen. 152 available view assistances. B. Applying a LUT1 select scent monitoring setup LUT, SDI on. The LUT is applied and the gamma curve and color space of the displayed image will change. 2. Select scent monitoring setup LUT selection, SDI desired LUT. When only one option is available, it will be grayed out. Notes: if you set an assignable button to LUT, SDI, A117, you can press the button to turn the selected LUT on and off. The LUT will be temporarily disabled when you select A assistance functions false color, LCD on. Adjusting the color quality for HLG output, you can change the quality of the color reproduction when the HLG LUT is used. Select scent monitoring setup HLG color desired option. Options: BT.2100, color reproduction according to ITUR BT.2100 specifications. Vivid, more saturated color reproduction according to the traditional color approach in ITUR BT.2390. User LUTs: you can register in the camera up to 4 look files and apply them to video output from the SDI out terminal. You can adjust the output color space and range of user LUTs. Use an SD card to copy LUT files to the camera. Registering a user LUT1, insert the SD card with the desired LUT file, .cube format, into the camera's SD card slot. 2. Select scent monitoring setup user LUT1 to user LUT4 register. Gamma/color space available. View assistances: BT.709 HDR assist, 800% HDR assist, 400% Canon log 3/c. Gamut UUU Canon log 3/BT.2020 UUU Canon log 3/BT.709 PQ/BT.2020 UHLG/BT.2020 UBT.709 YDR/BT.2020 BT.709 YDR/BT.709 BT.709 normal/BT.2020 BT.709 normal/BT.709 BT.709 standard/BT.709 153. Applying a LUT/the view assistance function to the LCD screen. 3. Select the LUT file on SD card. B4. Select the color space for the output signal, color space, output. To leave the color space unchanged, select Do Not Convert instead. 5. Select the output range, output. 6. Select OK. The selected LUT file will be registered in the camera. Applying a user LUT1, select scent monitoring setup LUT, SDI on. 2. Select scent monitoring setup LUT selection, SDI desired option. After registering a user LUT, it will appear as one of the options, user LUT1 yen to user LUT4 yen, when you select the desired LUT. Only registered user LUTs are listed in the options. Deleting a user LUT1, select scent monitoring setup user LUT1 to user LUT4. Delete OK. The selected user LUT will be deleted. Resetting all the user LUTs. 1. Select scent monitoring setup, reset all user LUTs. OK. All user LUTs will be deleted. Renaming a user LUT, you can rename each of the 4 user LUTs in the camera. Select scent monitoring setup user LUT1 to user LUT4. Rename. Enter the desired LUT name, up to 8 characters, using the keyboard screen, A27. Checking a user LUT settings. Select scent monitoring setup user LUT info desired user LUT. Notes: user LUT files in the camera cannot be overwritten. If necessary, delete a user LUT file in the camera before registering a different LUT file. Applying the View Assist function. 1. Select scent monitoring setup one of the View Assist settings on or on, BT.709. The View Assistance function is applied and the gamma curve and color space of the displayed image will change. The signal output will use narrow range, video range, coding. You can also adjust the setting using direct touch control, A50. 2. Select scent monitoring setup one of the Select View Assist settings. When only one option is available, it will be grayed out. Applying a LUT/the view assistance function to the LCD screen. 154 note setting view assist, HDMI to on, BT.709, disables the scent monitoring setup range, HDMI setting. The colors modified by using this function are an approximation, and differ from the colors obtained when you set gamma/color space in the custom picture. File, A125, to BT.709 YDR/BT.709. The colors in the dark areas/highlights of the image may not be displayed accurately. Adjusting the gain difference when converting HDR to SDR. You can adjust the SDR gain difference relative to HDR within a range of plus or minus 7.5 dB, in 0.5 dB increments, in the following cases: when the main clip is set to HDR* and a LUT or view assistance function that changes the color space to BT.709 is applied to the output. When the main clip is set to HDR* and proxy rec color conversion is set to BT.709. When the gamma/color space setting in the custom picture file is set to PQ/BT.2020 or HLG/BT.2020, or when the gamma/color space setting after applying a look file is set to HDR PQ, BT.2100, or HDR HLG, BT.2100. Select scent monitoring setup gain for HDR SDR CONV desired option. 155 Audio output channels. The camera can output audio from the SDI out terminal or the HDMI out terminal, times, headphone, terminal or speaker. When recording or playing back clips recorded with 4-channel audio, you can select which audio channels are output from the HDMI out terminal and headphones. Audio output configuration. To select the audio channels for headphone output, select audio setup monitor channels. Desired audio output option, L/R. Options like CH1+2 indicate that two audio channels, CH1 and CH2 in this example, are mixed and output from the same side. To select the audio channels for HDMI output, select audio setup HDMI out channel CH1/CH2 or CH3/CH4. Recorded audio configuration. Audio output during recording/playback. Audio format. Audio bit depth. SDI out terminal, HDMI out terminal, times, headphone, terminal. 4-channel linear PCM 24-bit, 16-bit 4-channel linear PCM 24-bit 2-channel linear PCM 16-bit 2 channels 2-channel AAC 16-bit working with files on a computer 156 working with files on a computer. Canon offers software applications as free downloads that allow you to save on a computer/smartphone files recorded with the camera. Saving files. Use Canon XF utility to save and organize XF/AVC clips and other recorded files on a computer. You can use the Canon XF plugins to easily use XF/AVC clips directly from Avid Nonlinear Editing, NLE, software. The software and plugins are available as free downloads from your local Canon website. Check the download page for the system requirements and latest information. You will find detailed instructions about installing and uninstalling the software in the Read This First file, install xfutility.pdf, included in the compressed file you will download from the website. For details about using the software, refer to the instruction manual, PDF file, that is installed with the software. Canon XF Utility, for Windows/Mac OS software application that allows you to save clips on a computer, check, play back and organize clips and grab still frames from clips. Canon XF plugin for Avid Media Access, for Windows/Mac OS plugin that allows you to easily import clips from a card or a local folder in the computer to the compatible version of Avid Media Composer, an NLE application compatible with Avid Media Access, directly from within the application. Saving MP4 clips. Make sure to save clips recorded with this camera to a computer. To do so, you will need a card reader connected to a computer or a computer with an SD card slot. For details on transferring files from the SD card, refer to the computer's instruction manual or OS's help modules. Under certain circumstances, clips may be split and recorded as separate files. Using MP4 join tool you can join the split files of and save them as a single seamless clip. Transferring files to a computer. 1. Insert an SD card with the desired clips into the SD card slot of the computer or card reader connected to the computer. 2. Follow the OS's on-screen instructions. 3. Copy the clips on the SD card to the computer. Recordings on the SD card are located in folders named XXX_MMDD under the DCIM folder, where XXX is the folder number, 100 to 999, and MMDD stands for the recording date, A38. Joining clips split by the camera. Use MP4 join tool to join MP4 clips split by the camera in the following cases. When the camera switches to the other SD card while recording video due to the relay recording function, A35. The video, stream, file in the clip will be split approximately every 4 GB. MP4 join tool is available as a free download, for Windows or Mac OS, from your local Canon website. Check the download page for the system requirements and latest information. You will find detailed instructions about installing and uninstalling the software in the read this first file, install mp4 join tool.pdf, included in the compressed file you download. For details about using the software, refer to the instruction manual, PDF file, that is installed with the software. 157 Working with files on a computer. Saving WAV files. Audio files in WAV format can be saved to a computer in the same way as MP4 files. Copy the desired audio files, located in the /private/audio folder of the SD card, to the computer. Saving recordings to a smartphone. You can save MP4 clips and proxy clips recorded with the camera, as well as news metadata files to a smartphone. A smartphone application is needed for this operation. You can connect a smartphone to the camera using a compatible USB cable * or the network functions, A188. * For details on compatible USB cables, visit your local Canon website. 1. Select B system setup. USB, Type-C, mode Canon app, S, for iPhone. 2. Connect the smartphone to the camera using a compatible USB cable. 3. Open the application on the smartphone. 4. Use the application to save the files. 5. When the connection ends, disconnect the USB cable from the camera. Connection port. Smartphone compatible USB cable working with files on a computer. 1587 159 Network functions and connection types. You can use the following network functions by connecting the camera to a network using Wi-Fi or the Ethernet terminal. 1. Connection to a Wi-Fi network via an external access point, wireless router, etc. 2. Direct connection to one Wi-Fi enabled device where the camera serves as the Wi-Fi access point. Before using the network functions, the instructions in this chapter assume you already have a correctly configured and working network and correctly configured network device, S. If necessary, refer to the documentation provided with the network devices you plan to use. Configuring the network settings requires adequate knowledge about configuring and using wired, Ethernet, and / or wireless, Wi-Fi, networks. Canon cannot provide support regarding network configurations. Important: Canon shall not be liable for any loss of data or damage resulting from incorrect network configuration or settings. Additionally, Canon shall not be liable for any loss or damage caused by the use of network functions. Avoid using open networks or networks without sufficiently strong security settings. Using an unprotected network can expose your data to monitoring by unauthorized third parties. Network function description: wired network, Ethernet, Wi-Fi A infrastructure. 1. Camera access point. 2. FTP file transfer clips recorded with the camera to another device connected to the network using the FTP protocol. UUU176 IP stream the camera's live video and audio over IP to a compatible IP video decoder connected to the network. 177 Browser remote. Control the camera remotely from the web browser of a connected device. U179 Canon app transfer clips / audio recorded with the camera to a smartphone, or apply news metadata created / edited with the smartphone application to the camera. 188XC protocol control the camera remotely through an IP connection using a controller/application compatible with the XC protocol. UUU186 network functions and connection types. 160 notes. Do not open the card compartment cover while using network functions. Do not place cables connected to the camera's SDI out terminal or HDMI out terminal, input terminals, mic terminal, or USB terminal near the built-in wireless antenna. Doing so may negatively affect the wireless communication or the audio recorded. Using a Wi-Fi network. Wi-Fi connection types. You can connect the camera in infrastructure mode, using an access point, wireless router etc., or in camera access point mode, directly to a network device. The type of connection you can use depends on the network function you wish to use. A159. For an infrastructure connection, the camera offers 4 ways to configure an access point, and the method you use will depend on the type and specifications of the access point and network you plan to use. Camera access point. When shooting in a location where there are no access points available, the camera can serve as a wireless access point. Wi-Fi enabled devices will be able to connect to the camera directly. * limited only to the connection between the camera and supported Wi-Fi enabled devices. The functionality is not the same as that of commercially available access points. Infrastructure connection, WPS, button. If your wireless router supports Wi-Fi protected setup, WPS, setup will be easy and require minimal configuring and no passwords. To check if your wireless router has a WPS button and for details about how to activate the Wi-Fi protected setup, refer to the instruction manual of your wireless router. WPS, PIN code. Even if your wireless router does not have a dedicated WPS button, it may support WPS using a PIN code instead. For setup using a PIN code, you will need to know in advance how to activate the wireless router's WPS function. For details, refer to the instruction manual of your wireless router. Searching for access points. If your access point does not support the WPS function or you are using a smartphone's mobile connection, tethering, you can have the camera search for access points in the area. Entering the SSID and authentication method. Manually enter the SSID and other information about the access point. Important. Depending on the country/region of use, some restrictions on outdoor use or camera access point connections may apply when using the IEEE 802.11b/G/A/N/AC wireless standard. Check the applicable areas of use and restrictions in Advance, A230. Built-in wireless antenna. 161 network functions and connection types. Using a wired, Ethernet, network. Connect a commercially available Ethernet cable to the camera's Ethernet terminal to use a wired network. Use category 5E or better shielded twisted pair, STP, Ethernet cables compatible with Gigabit Ethernet, 1000 base T, and with good shielding capability. For more details about the Ethernet adapter and Ethernet cables, refer to the manufacturer's instruction manual. Connecting Ethernet access lamp. Ethernet cable, commercially available, Ethernet port on a network device. Configuring connection settings. 162 Configuring connection settings. To connect to a network, you will need to define in advance a connection setting, set, which is a combination of one or two communication settings, networks, NW, and one or two network function settings, mode. You can save in the camera up to 25 individual communication settings and function settings, and up to 20 combinations of connection settings, set 1 to set 20. To configure a connection setting for the first time, you will follow the setup wizard, A163. Using the wizard, you can set up only one network and one function per connection setting. After having configured multiple connection settings, you can change them, for example to add a secondary network or second function, and you can create new ones combining existing communication and function settings, A171. If you configure a connection setting with both the IP streaming and browser remote network functions, you will be able to use both functions simultaneously. Activating a network connection. Activate the desired network connection to use network functions or to configure the connection setting online. 1. Select network settings. Network enable. 2. When using connection settings that you saved previously, select network settings. Connect desired connection setting, set 1 to set 20, OK. To end the network connection, set connect to disconnect instead. Configure the necessary connection settings for the networks and network functions you wish to use. Select a connection setting appropriate for the network function you wish to use and start using the function. FTP transfer, A176, IP streaming, A177, browser remote, A179, Canon app, A188, XC protocol, A166, Step 1. Step 2. Connection setting, set, communication setting 1 asterisk, NW, communication setting 2 function setting 1 asterisk, mode, function setting 2 Wi-Fi asterisk configured using the wizard. Only in camera mode. Ethernet camera access point infrastructure WPS, push button, WPS, pin code, detected access points SSID/authentication mode input FTP transfer IP streaming browser remote Canon app XC protocol 163 configuring connection settings adding a new connection setting using the wizard. You can use the wizard to set up a new connection setting. This section uses a connection to a Wi-Fi network using the WPS push button method as an example. Refer to the instruction manual of the access point for details about the location and operation of the WPS button. 1. Enable the network functions, A162. 2. Select network settings. New con setting, wizard, desired network function OK. 3. Select create new COMM setting. Once you have added multiple communication settings, you can select existing setting to reuse the settings for a network that you saved previously. 4. Select Wi-Fi. To configure a wired, Ethernet, network, A167. 5. Select Connect with WPS, push button. To use a different configuration method, complete the corresponding procedure. Camera access point, A167, WPS using a pin code, A168, detected access points, A168, SSID/authentication mode input, A169, manual setup without connecting to the network, A169, 6. Press and hold the WPS button on the wireless router and then, on the camera, select OK. 7. To configure the IPv4 settings automatically and not use IPv6 settings, select Automatic Setting Disable. To configure IPv4 settings manually, A169. To use the default IPv6 settings, select Enable instead. After completing the wizard, change the IPv6 settings as necessary, A172. 8. Select OK to continue to configure the function settings. The communication settings are saved to an NW file. Continue with 1. The following procedures to configure the selected function settings. FTP transfer, A163, IP streaming, A165, browser remote, A166, Canon app, A166, XC protocol, A166, notes the WPS, push button, method may not work correctly depending on the devices used or the surrounding conditions. In such case try using WPS, pin code, A168, or selecting one of the detected networks, A168. Function settings FTP transfer. This section continues the connection settings wizard, A163. In the function settings you will configure the FTP server settings and other settings related to the handling of folders and files. If necessary, consult the network administrator in charge of the FTP server. 1. Select Create New Func setting. Once you have added multiple function settings, you can select existing setting to reuse the settings for an FTP server that you saved previously. 2. Select the desired transfer mode. Configuring connection settings 164. 3. Configure the destination FTP server. Select server and port. No OK. Enter the FTP server's IP address or host name using the keyboard screen. Enter the port number using the data entry screen, 827. Usually, the port number used is 21, FTP or FTPS transfers, or 22, SFTP transfers. Depending on the FTP mode selected in Step 2, perform either Step 4 or Steps 4 to 5 and then continue to Step 6. SFTP transfers 4. Enter the username and password for the SSH protocol's authentication. Select username and password OK. Enter the desired username and password using the keyboard screen, 827. FTP/FTPS transfers 4. Select enable to use passive mode or disable to use active mode. In most cases, select disable. 5. Enter the username and password for the FTP server. Select username and password OK. Enter the desired username and password using the keyboard screen, 827. All transfer mode. 6. Select the destination folder on the server. 7. Select OK. The function settings are saved to a mode file. 8. Select the connection setting, set 1 to set 20, where to save the settings. 9. Select OK. The camera will connect to the network and will be ready to use the FTP transfer function, A176. Options for FTP mode: FTP transfer method where the data is not encrypted. FTPS secure transfer method using a root certificate, A170. SFTP secure transfer method using an SSH secure channel. Options for destination folder: root directory, files are saved on the root directory of the destination FTP server. Select folder, enter the desired path using the keyboard screen, 827. If the folder does not exist on the destination FTP server, it will be created automatically. 165 Configuring connection settings. IP streaming. This section continues the connection settings wizard, A163. In the function settings you will configure the streaming video bitrate and resolution, the protocol used and the receiver's settings. For details refer to the instruction manual of the decoder device or software you will use. 1. Select Create New Func setting. Once you have added multiple function settings, you can select existing setting to reuse IP streaming settings that you saved previously. 2. Select the desired protocol. 3. Configure the receiver's settings. Select destination server and dest port. No OK. Enter the receiver's IP address using the keyboard screen. Enter the port number using the data entry screen, 827. Using the default port number is recommended. Depending on the streaming protocol selected in Step 2, perform Step 4 if necessary and then continue to Step 5. RTP plus FEC streaming. 4. Configure the settings used to send FEC packets. Select FEC port no and FEC interval OK. Enter the port number using the data entry screen, 827. Using the default settings is recommended. RTSP plus RTP streaming. 4. Enter the username and password of the RTSP client. Select RTSP, username and RTSP, password OK. Enter the desired username and password using the keyboard screen, 827. All streaming protocols. 5. Select the video streaming configuration. 6. Select the audio channels. 7. Depending on the resolution and frame rate, a screen may prompt you to change other settings. Change the settings as necessary. 8. Select OK. The function settings are saved to a mode file. 9. Select the connection setting, set 1 to set 20, where to save the settings. 10. Select OK. The camera will connect to the network and will be ready to start streaming. 11. Connect the decoder to the network and complete any necessary configurations on the receiving side so the decoder is ready to receive video over IP. To start streaming, refer to IP streaming, A177. Options for protocol UDP. This protocol prioritizes transfer speeds but does not guarantee the reliability/integrity of the data. Lost or delayed IP packets are ignored. RTP standard protocol for video/audio broadcasts over the Internet. Lost or delayed IP packets are ignored. RTP plus FEC. The setting uses the RTP protocol and adds a layer of FEC error correction so the receiving side asterisk can recover lost or delayed IP packets. RTSP plus RTP. The setting uses the RTSP, real-time streaming, protocol to control the streaming server, camera, in real time and the RTP protocol for the broadcast over IP. With the RTSP protocol, the receiver can control when to start and stop the broadcast. Configuring connection settings 166 *. A decoder compatible with FEC error correction is required. Browser remote. This section continues the connection settings wizard, A163. A username and password are required to log in to the browser remote application. In the function settings you will configure up to 3 different users for single user or 2 user operation. 1. Select create new func setting. Once you have added multiple function settings, you can select existing setting to reuse browser remote settings that you saved previously. 2. Enter the usernames and passwords as necessary. 3. Select OK twice. The function settings are saved to a mode file. 4. Select the connection setting, set 1 to set 20, where to save the settings. 5. Select OK. The camera will connect to the network and will be ready to accept commands from the browser remote application, A179. Canon app, connecting to a smartphone. This section details the necessary settings to connect the camera to a smartphone through a network. Be sure to connect both the smartphone and the camera to the same network in advance. A smartphone application is necessary to connect the camera to a smartphone. For details on downloading the necessary smartphone application, refer to Transferring Recordings to a Smartphone, A188. For more details, refer to the smartphone's instruction manual. 1. Select Create New Func setting. Once you have added multiple function settings, you can select existing setting to reuse Canon app settings that you saved previously. 2. Select OK. 3. As indicated on the screen, open the application on the smartphone. 4. Select the camera using the smartphone application. If the camera and the smartphone are connected to the same network, the camera will be detected automatically. 5. Select OK. The connection will be completed. The function settings are saved to a mode file. 6. Select the connection setting, set 1 to set 20, where to save the settings. 7. Select OK. The connection will be completed and the camera will be ready to operate with the connected smartphone, A188. XC protocol. Set a username and password to connect to an XC protocol compatible device connected to a network. 1. Select Create New Func setting. 2. Set the authentication method used by the XC protocol, HTTP, server. After selecting Basic Authentication or Digest Authentication, set the username and password. Username, 5 to 15 alphanumeric characters or symbols. Password, 8 to 32 alphanumeric characters or symbols, use at least 2 types from each. 3. Select OK. 167 Configuring connection settings. The function settings are saved to a mode file. 4. Select the connection setting, set 1 to set 20, where to save the settings. 5. When the confirmation message appears, press Set. The camera will connect to the network and will be ready to accept commands from the remote controller/application, A186. Other connection methods. This section explains how to configure communication settings using methods other than the WPS push button. Ethernet settings. 1. In the network type screen, select Ethernet. 2. Make sure the Ethernet cable is correctly connected, A161, and select Setup with network connection. Select Setup without network connection to only configure the settings, without connecting to the network. 3. Set the IP address, A169. 4. Select OK to continue to configure the function settings. The communication settings are saved to an NW file. Continue with 1. The following procedures to configure the selected function settings. FTP transfer, A163, IP streaming, A165, browser remote, A166, XC protocol, A166, camera access point. Connect a network device with the camera's access point. Two configuration methods are available, easy connection and manual connection. 1. In the Select a Network screen, select Camera Access Point mode. 2. Select the configuration method. Depending on the selected method, perform either step 3 or steps 3 to 7 and then continue to step 8. Easy connection. 3. The camera will assign the network name, SSID, and password automatically. Review the settings for the camera's Wi-Fi access point and select OK. These settings are necessary to connect a network device to the camera. QR code connection is also possible. Touch QR on the screen to display a QR code to be read with a network device. Manual connection. 3. Enter the SSID, network name, for the camera access point and then select OK. Enter the desired network name using the keyboard screen, A27. 4. Select the Wi-Fi channel. Select automatic setting to have the camera select the channel automatically, or select manual setting desired channel. 5. Select the encryption settings. Select AES to use AES encryption, or disable to use no encryption. If you selected disable, skip to step 7. 6. Enter the password for the camera access point and then select OK. Enter the desired password using the keyboard screen, A27. Configuring connection settings. 168.7. Set the IP address, A169. Both configuration methods. 8. Select OK to continue to configure the function settings. The communication settings are saved to an NW file. Continue with 1. The following procedures to configure the selected function settings. FTP transfer, A163, browser remote, A166, XC protocol, A166, 9. Before you can save the connection setting, connect the network device to the camera. Activate the device's Wi-Fi function, select the camera's SSID, network name, from the list and enter the password to connect to the camera. WPS using a PIN code. Connect to an access point using a PIN code. For most wireless routers, you must use a web browser to access the setup screen. For details on how to set up the access point, refer to the access points user manual. 1. In the Select a Network screen, select Connect with WPS PIN code. The camera will generate and display an 8-digit PIN code. 2. Enter the PIN code into the wireless router's WPS PIN code, setup screen and then, on the camera, select OK. 3. Set the IP address, A169. 4. Select OK to continue to configure the function settings. The communication settings are saved to an NW file. Continue with 1. The following procedures to configure the selected function settings. FTP transfer, A163, IP streaming, A165, browser remote, A166, Canon app, A166, XC protocol, A166, detected access points. The camera will automatically detect access points in the vicinity. After you select the desired access point, you only need to enter the selected network's password to connect the camera. Be sure to activate tethering in advance when using a smartphone as an access point. For details about the access point's network name, SSID, and password, refer to the wireless router's instruction manual or consult the network administrator in charge of the access point. 1. In the Select a Network screen, scroll through the list of detected networks and select the desired network. If the access point is encrypted, enter the password of the access point using the keyboard screen, A27. 2. Set the IP address, A169. 3. Select OK to continue to configure the function settings. A list of active networks detected in the vicinity will appear after the menu settings. Network name, SSID, only ASCII characters, encrypted access point 169. Configuring connection settings. The communication settings are saved to an NW file. Continue with the following procedures to configure the selected function settings. FTP transfer, A163, IP streaming, A165, browser remote, A166, Canon app, A166, XC protocol, A166, SSID/authentication mode input. You can connect to a specific access point by manually entering its details. For details about the access point's network name, SSID, and password, refer to the wireless router's instruction manual or consult the network administrator in charge of the access point. 1. In the Select a Network screen, select Enter SSID/authentication method. 2. Enter the SSID, network name, of the desired network and then select OK. Enter the desired network name using the keyboard screen, A27. 3. Select the network's authentication method. If you select Open System, select Disable, No Encryption, and skip to Step 6, or select WEP and continue the procedure. If you select Shared Key or Open System WEP, select the key index. 4. Enter the password of the desired network and then select OK. Enter the desired password using the keyboard screen, A27. 5. Set the IP address, A169. 6. Select OK to continue to configure the function settings. The communication settings are saved to an NW file. Continue with the following procedures to configure the selected function settings. FTP transfer, A163, IP streaming, A165, browser remote, A166, Canon app, A166, XC protocol, A166, offline configuration without connecting to a network. 1. In the Select a Network screen, select Configure Offline. 2. Select the network type. If you select Infrastructure, continue with the procedure to enter the SSID and authentication mode, from Step 2, A169. If you select Camera Access Point mode, continue from that procedure, from Step 2, A167. Configuring the camera's IP address. This section explains how to configure the IP address. Available settings will change depending on the network function selected. 1. Select the method used to configure IPv4 settings, automatic setting or manual setting. When using the wizard to add a new connection setting, make the selection in the IP address settings, IPv4, screen. If you select automatic setting, skip to Step 4. Manual setting. 2. Select IP address and subnet mask and enter the desired addresses using the data entry screen, A27. To use a default gateway, select Use Gateway Enable and then select Gateway and enter the address. To use a DNS address, select Use DNS Address Manual Setting and enter the address. 3. Select OK. Configuring connection settings. 170. Both methods. 4. Select whether to use TCP/IPv6 settings or not. To use IPv4 settings, select Disable. To configure IPv6 settings, A172. Other network settings. Reading/deleting a root certificate for FTP transfer. When you use the FTPS transfer mode, you will need to read onto the camera the same root certificate saved on the FTP server. You can also check the content of a previously loaded root certificate or delete it. 1. Set the camera to media mode. 2. Save the desired root certificate file onto the root directory of a card and insert it into card slot B. 3. Select Network Settings, Advanced Settings, FTP Transfer Settings. Read root certificate. OK. The root certificate file is read from the card. After reading a root certificate file, you can select root certificate details to check the certificate's issuer and expiration date, or select Delete Root Certificate to delete the root certificate in the camera. Notes: only one root certificate, with one of the following file names, can be read by the camera: root.sar, root.crt and root.pem. If you transfer files using FTPS transfer with a self-signed certificate, you may not be able to trust the destination server. 802.1x Authentication. The camera is compatible with the following protocols: EAPTLS, X.509 supported EAPTTLS, PEEP, MS-CHAP v.2 supported. Select Network Settings, Advanced Settings 802.1x Authentication Setup Wizard. Follow the wizard to complete the authentication settings. When you select the EAP-TLS protocol, the root certificate, client certificate, and private key will be read from the card. When you select the EAP-TLS or PEEP protocol, select username and password and enter the information using the keyboard screen, A27. Then, read the root certificate from the card. After reading the authentication files, select Check Settings to check their content. Select Delete Settings to delete the authentication files in the camera. Giving a nickname to the camera. You can give the camera a nickname that is used on network connections and network devices to make it easier to identify. Select Network Settings Nickname. Enter the desired nickname using the keyboard screen, A27.171. Configuring connection settings. Checking and changing connection settings. Set. You can check and, if necessary, change the settings of connection settings, set, registered in the camera. In addition to deleting and renaming connection settings, you can also add to a connection setting a secondary network or second function. Checking the content of a connection setting. Select Network Settings, Connection Setting, Desired Connection Setting, Set 1 to Set 20, Check Settings. The detailed content of the connection setting is displayed. Push the joystick left/right to review all the settings and press the Cancel button to return to the menu. Changing settings using the wizard. 1. Select Network Settings, Connection Setting, Desired Connection Setting, Set 1 to Set 20, Change with Wizard. 2. Select the desired network function and then follow the wizard as described in the previous procedure, from Step 3, A163, and make any changes as necessary. Changing connection settings using existing settings. You can use previously registered communication settings, NW files, or function settings, mode files, to easily replace the content of a connection setting or to add a second network or network function in addition to those registered using the wizard. 1. Select Network Settings, Connection Setting, Desired Connection Setting, Set 1 to Set 20, select Existing Setting. To add/replace a communication or function setting. 2. Select the setting you want to change. Select Existing Setting, Desired NW or Mode file. In the list of communication settings and function settings registered in the camera, only those that can be selected will be displayed in white and others will be grayed out. 3. Select Set. If necessary, select Check COMM Settings or Check Function Settings to check the content of the selected file before making the change. To delete a communication or function setting. 2. Select the setting you want to remove. Clear selected OK. Notes: a connection setting can have 2 communication settings, primary/secondary network, and up to 2 function settings, only for IP streaming and browser remote. If both communication settings are deleted, the connection setting itself will be reset and will appear as unspecified. Renaming connection settings. You can rename connection setting, set, files to make them easier to identify from the list. Select Network Settings, Connection Setting, Desired Connection Setting, Set 1 to Set 20, Settings Name. Enter the desired name, up to 12 characters, using the keyboard screen, A27. Configuring connection settings. 172. Deleting connection settings. Select Network Settings, Connection Setting, Desired Connection Setting, Set 1 to Set 20, Delete Settings. OK. The connection setting will be deleted. Notes: even if you delete a connection setting, the individual communication/function settings stored in it are not deleted. You can reuse these settings to configure other connection settings. Checking and changing communication settings, NW/function settings, mode. You can check the content of communication settings, NW files, and function settings, mode files, saved in the camera and change or delete them as necessary. Checking the content of a communication setting/function setting. 1. Select Network Settings, Advanced Settings, Communication Settings or Function Settings. 2. Select the desired communication setting, NW1 to NW25, or function setting, Mode 1 to Mode 25. 3. Select Check Settings. the detailed content of the selected setting is displayed. Push the joystick left/right to review all the settings and press the Cancel button to return to the menu. Changing/deleting communication settings/function settings. 1. Select Network Settings, Advanced Settings, Communication Settings or Function Settings. 2. Select the desired communication setting, NW1 to NW25, or function setting, Mode 1 to Mode 25. 3. Select Change Settings and change the various settings as necessary. If in Step 2 you selected an unspecified settings file, the only option available is Create New with Wizard, A163. Select Delete Settings. OK to delete the communication setting/function setting. Configuring TCP/IPv6 settings. If in the wizard you selected Enable to use IPv6 settings, change the settings as necessary after completing the wizard. 1. After Step 3 in the previous procedure, select TCP/IPv6 TCP/IPv6 settings enable. This step is not necessary if you selected Enable when you used the wizard to add a new connection setting. Continue the procedure to change the default IPv6 settings. 2. To configure the IPv6 settings manually, select Manual Setting Enable. DNS Server changes to Manual Setting. 3. Select DNS Server Desired option. If you selected Disable in Step 2, you can set DNS Server to auto-assign. When not using a DNS server, select Disable. 4. If you set DNS Server to Manual Setting in Step 3, configure the DNS address. Enter the IP address using the data entry screen, 827.173. Configuring connection settings. When manual setting is set to enable 5, select Manual Address, manually entered IPv6 address, prefix length, bits available for the network address, and gateway's IP address, and enter the necessary information. Enter the IP addresses and prefix length using the data entry screen, 827. Individual settings available for manual change. Communication settings, individual settings available for manual change. Function settings, menu item setting options and additional information. Wi-Fi SSID advanced settings. Authentication method, password TCP/IPv4 IP address settings. Automatic setting, manual setting. DNS server disable, auto assign, manual setting. DNS address, IP address, subnet mask, gateway *TCP/IPv6 TCP/IPv6 settings *disable, enable. Manual setting disable, enable. DNS server disable, auto assign, manual setting. DNS address, manual address, prefix length, gateway. Enter the desired address using the data entry screen, 827. Menu item setting options and additional information. FTP transfer destination server port no. *username/password username, password destination folder *dest folder structure default, camera overwrite files skip, save as, new name, overwrite determines how to deal with files to be transferred when files with the same name already exists in the destination folder. Skip, the file will not be transferred. Save as, new name, the file will be transferred and _1 will be added to the end of the file name. Overwrite, the file will be transferred, overwriting any file with the same name on the FTP server. Passive mode *disable, enable new folder by date. Enable, disable. Enable, a new subfolder under the transfer destination folder /HHMMSS will be created for every transfer operation. Disable, all the files will be transferred to the folder specified for the destination folder. Setting. Configuring connection settings 174 * change these settings as explained in the wizard, A163. Changing browser remote settings. 1. Select Network Settings, Advanced Settings, Browser Remote Settings. 2. Change the various settings as necessary. You can select port no. HTTP, or port no. HTTPS, to change the port numbers used for each connection. Using the default port numbers, HTTP, 80, HTTPS, 443, is recommended. To use an HTTPS connection, select HTTPS Enable. To use a secure HTTPS connection, use a camera access point connection setting and connect the network device to the camera using a normal HTTP connection, A179, and download the necessary certificate from the Browser Remote Settings tab, A185. After you import the certificate you downloaded to your web browser, you will be able to use a secure HTTPS connection. To change XC protocol settings, 1. Select Network Settings, Advanced Settings, XC Protocol Settings. 2. Change the various settings as necessary. You can select Port No. HTTP, to change the port number used for connection. Using the default port number, HTTP, 80, is recommended. IP Streaming Protocol UDP, RTP, RTP plus FEC, RTSP plus RTP Destination Server, DEST. Port No. Asterisk, FEC Port No. Asterisk FEC interval 10 to 100, intervals of 5, RTSP, username, RTSP, password video output CONF 9 Mbps/1920 x 1080 59.94p, 4 Mbps/1920 x 1080 59.94p, 9 Mbps/1920 x 1080 50.00p, 4 Mbps/1920 x 1080 50.00p, 9 Mbps/1920 x 1080 59.94i, 4 Mbps/1920 x 1080 59.94i, 9 Mbps/1920 x 1080 50.00i, 4 Mbps/1920 x 1080 50.00i, audio out channel CH1/CH2, CH3/CH4 menu item setting options and additional information. 175 Checking the network status. Checking the network status unless you selected to configure a connection setting offline, without connecting to the network, immediately after configuring a new connection setting. The camera will connect to the network automatically and the selected function settings will be activated. The icons displayed on the screen will indicate the type of network selected and the connection status. When you disable the network functions or disconnect from the network, the icons will disappear. Network connection icons. Wi-Fi infrastructure in yellow, the camera is connecting to or disconnecting from the network. In white, the network function can be used. Wi-Fi camera access point in yellow, starting the camera's access point. In white, the camera's access point is ready. Connect the Wi-Fi enabled device to the camera. Ethernet in yellow, the camera is connecting to or disconnecting from the network. In white, the network function can be used. Network function icons. FTP file transfer, A176, IP streaming, A177, FTP file transfer 176 FTP file transfer in media mode. You can transfer clips from the camera to another device connected to the network, using the FTP protocol. The following explanations assume that the FTP server is on, ready and correctly configured. Transferring a single clip. 1. Connect the camera to the desired network and activate the network functions, A162. Select a connection setting with the FTP transfer function setting. 2. Select the desired clip in the XFAVC or MP4 index screen, A131. 3. Press Set to open the file menu and select FTP transfer. OK. The camera will connect to the FTP server and the file will be transferred. Select Cancel to interrupt the file transfer in progress. Transferring all clips. 1. Connect the camera to the desired network and activate the network functions, A162. Select a connection setting with the FTP transfer function setting. 2. Open the XFAVC or MP4 index screen, A131. 3. Select Network Settings. FTP transfer all clips. OK. The camera will connect to the FTP server and all the files will be transferred. Select Cancel to interrupt the file transfer in progress. Important: observe the following precautions when transferring files. Failing to do so may interrupt the transfer and incomplete files may remain at the transfer destination. Do not open the card compartment cover. Do not remove the power source or turn off the camera. If incomplete files remain at the transfer destination, check the content and make sure they are safe to delete before deleting them. Notes: depending on the access point settings and capabilities, it may take some time to transfer files. 177 IP streaming in camera mode. You can stream the camera's live video and audio over IP to a compatible IP video decoder * connected to the network. You can use IP streaming for live broadcasts or to send video reports from a location with poor network connectivity. * This can be a dedicated video transfer device or decoder software on a computer. For details about compatible decoders, please visit your local Canon website. Configuration of video streamed over IP *. When the audio of the primary clip uses 4 channels, you can select which channels to stream over IP. 1. On the receiver's side, connect the decoder to the network and complete any necessary configurations so it is ready to receive video over IP. For details, refer to the instruction manual of the decoder device or software you will use. 2. On the camera, connect the camera to the desired network and activate the network functions, A162. Select a connection setting with the IP streaming function setting. 3. Select network settings, activate IP streaming, enable. The camera will start streaming video over the selected network. You can press the rec button to simultaneously record the same image in the camera. 4. On the receiver's side, only when the streaming protocol is RTSP plus RTP, access the following URL and log in using the RTSP username and password, A165. 5. On the camera, to end the streaming, select network settings, activate IP streaming, disable. Important streamed data is not encrypted. Notes: except when the streaming protocol is RTSP plus RTP, once IP streaming is activated, the camera will continue to broadcast video and audio data over the network, regardless of the status of the receiver. Be careful to set up the correct IP address and test in advance that the receiving decoder can indeed receive the signals. Depending on the network used and the connection conditions, you may experience lost or delayed IP packets. After streaming continuously for 24 hours, the camera will stop the IP streaming momentarily and then restart it automatically. When using IP streaming together with the browser remote function, you may experience stuttering issues in the streamed video or audio. When the two functions are used simultaneously, it is recommended not to log out from /reconnect to browser remote. Main recording video configuration: streamed video configuration, video format, resolution, frame rate, video audio bit rate, resolution, frame rate, audio format, bit rate, XF605, MP4, H.264, 3840 x 2160, 1920 x 1080, 59.94p, 9 Mbps, 4 Mbps, 1920 x 1080, 59.94p, 59.94 I MPEG 2 AAC 2 channels * 256 kbps, 59.94 I, 59.94 I, 50.00p, 50.00p, 50.00 I, 50.00 I, 50.00 I, RTSP//XXX.XXX.XXX /stream cameras IP streaming 178. Opening the card compartment cover and removing a card while IP streaming is activated may cause brief stops in the streamed video and audio. IP streaming cannot be used in the following cases when using a recording mode other than normal recording. When second card rec functions is set to an option other than off. When using the web camera function, A115.179 browser remote, controlling the camera from a network device. Browser remote, controlling the camera from a network device. In camera mode, you can operate the camera remotely using browser remote, an application that can be accessed on a connected network device. Using browser remote, you can check the camera's live image and control various recording settings. You can also check other important indications, such as remaining recording time on the card, remaining battery charge / power source details, time code, etc. * white balance, ISO speed/gain, shutter speed, ND filter, aperture, focus and zoom. Starting browser remote. After connecting the camera to the network in camera mode, you can start the browser remote application on the web browser of any network device connected to the same network. A web browser that supports JavaScript and is enabled to accept cookies is required. For details about compatible devices, operating systems, web browsers, etc., please visit your local Canon website. Preparations on the camera. 1. Connect the camera to the desired network and activate the network functions, A162. Select a connection setting with the browser remote function setting. 2. Check the browser remote's URL in the network settings status screen, A210. When using IPv6 settings, check the camera's IP address instead, A209. Write down the URL or IP address if necessary. On the network device. 1. Connect the network device to the camera or to the same access point as the camera. 2. Start the web browser on the network device. 3. Enter browser remote's URL. Enter the URL/IP address you checked previously into the web browser's address bar as follows. To use an HTTPS connection, enter HTTPS instead of HTTP. When using IPv6 settings, enter the camera's IPv6 IP address instead. 4. Enter the username and password. Be sure to log in with the username and password of one of the users that were set on the camera, A166. If necessary, consult the administrator who configured the camera's settings. The browser remote screen will appear. The screen displayed may be different depending on the user information used to log in. 5. To change the application's language, select language H. Desired language. Most buttons and controls emulate physical controls on the camera and are labeled in English only, regardless of the language selected. 6. Use the browser remote controls to operate the camera. Descriptions of the controls are given in the following pages. 7. When you have finished using browser remote, select Logout on the browser remote screen to end the application. HTTP URL. Camera's IP address port no. Can be omitted when using the default port no. Example of the login screen. The screen may differ depending on the web browser and version used. Browser remote, controlling the camera from a network device. 180 notes. Depending on the network used and the connection performance, you may notice delays in the refreshing of the live view image and other settings. If the delay is too long, changing the resolution of the live view image is recommended, A185. If browser remote is set to a language other than the language set on the network device, the application may not be displayed correctly. 181 Browser remote, controlling the camera from a network device using browser remote. Notes: browser remote does not support multi-touch gestures. The main remote operation screen 8910 125436711112131814161715 network connection indicator. While browser remote is correctly connected to the camera, the dots will keep turning on and off in a loop. 2. Live view screen shows the camera's live view image. 3. Recording operation, A45, and recording command, A193, same as on the camera. 4. Time code, same as on the camera. 5. Add a shot. Mark 6. Add a %. 7. Add an $. 8. Camera S nickname, A170. 9. Live view button. Touch the button to display the camera's live view image on the browser remote screen. 10. Touch focus button. Touch the button to unlock, enable, the touch focus mode. 11. IP streaming available only when using a connection setting with both the browser remote and IP streaming function settings. 12. Rec button. Touch the button to start recording. The recording operation indicator changes to UREC and the center of the button turns red. The time code will advance while recording. Touch the button again to stop recording. The recording operation indicator changes back to STBY. Browser remote, controlling the camera from a network device. 182 13 card selection and approximate remaining recording time. 14 slot select button. Touch to select the other card when both card slots contain a card. 15 assignable buttons, 16 assignable functions, check 17 double slot recording, 18 remaining battery charge / power supply level, A45, 183 browser remote, controlling the camera from a network device, 19 AF mode, select the AF mode. 20 tracking, 21 ND filter, 22 aperture value, 23 ISO speed / gain value, 24 shutter speed, 25 white balance method selection. When the white balance mode is set to, touch AWB lock to lock the current white balance settings. Touch again to resume the automatic white balance, AWB. When the white balance mode is set to AA or AB, touch A to register a custom white balance. 26 full controls, switch, A184, detailed settings for AF operations, aperture, ISO speed / gain, AE operations, and custom picture. 27 key lock button, touch the icon to lock the browser remote screens in order to prevent settings from being changed inadvertently. Controls on the camera are not locked. 28 browser remote settings, A185, 29 manual zoom buttons, touch to adjust the zoom. Hold / press down to continue zooming in / out. 30 fixed zoom positions, select one of the fixed zoom positions. When using a slow zoom speed, it may take some time until the lens start moving. 31 focus mode switch, 32 manual focus controls. When focus is active, touch, or to focus closer or to focus farther. There are 3 levels of adjustment, / is the smallest and / the largest. Keep touching the button, long press, for a continuous operation. 33 focus guide switch, touch to display the focus guide, A75. 34 face detection button, A79, 35 cancel tracking button, 36 full auto switch, A42, 37 push auto iris button, 38 high sensitivity mode, 39 AE shift, 40 color temperature, 41 color compensation, 262,728, 29 31 33 36 38 39 35 37 3,419, 20 21 22 23 24 25 4,041, 30 32 browser remote, controlling the camera from a network device, 184 full controls, 5 10 11 12 16 17 18 14 15 13 1 2 3 4 22 21 23 24 25 20 19 8 9 7 6 1 AF frame position, 2 AF response, 3 eye detection, 4 fine aperture adjustment, 5 function shortcut button. Displays the various adjustable functions. Touch the function you wish to adjust. 6 AF frame, 7 AF speed, 8 face AF, select the desired face AF setting. 9 aperture increment, 10 AE response, 11 face AE, 12 master pedestal, 13 black red, 14 knee automatic, 15 knee point, 16 sharpness level, 17 noise reduction automatic, 18 white balance blue, 19 ISO / gain increment, 20 shutter increment, 21 custom picture file protection status, 22 black gamma level, 23 black blue, 24 knee slope, 25 white balance red, 185 browser remote, controlling the camera from a network device, browser remote settings tab, 1 language selection, changes the language used for controls in the metadata input screen and for error messages. Still, most of the application's controls emulate physical buttons on the camera and appear in English only, regardless of the language selected. 2 display style, touch to select the background color of the browser remote screens. 3 secured connection, touch to download the certificate required to use a secure HTTPS connection. 4 live view resolution, select large, higher resolution, or small, lower resolution, depending on the quality of the connection. 5 log out, touch to log out from the browser remote application. 1 2 3 4 5 recording remotely using an XC protocol compatible controller / application. 186 recording remotely using an XC protocol compatible controller / application. Set the IP address of the camera on the optional XC protocol compatible RCIP100 remote camera controller or remote camera control application * to control the camera remotely. * available from your local Canon website. 1 in camera mode, activate the network functions, A162, select a connection setting with the XC protocol function setting. Recording remotely using the RCIP100 remote camera controller. You can remotely control camera settings like the aperture and shutter speed, or change picture-related settings like the knee and sharpness. For more details on the connection, settings, and the RCIP100, refer to the RCIP100 instruction manual. Notes: when connected to the camera, the following functions of the RCIP100 cannot be used: F1/F2 knob, PT speed, R gain, B gain, noise reduction, user 1/user 2 button, one shot AF, preset color settings, color space control lever, pan/tilt operations, trace tab, FUNC tab, soft zoom control, PT acceleration, ND filter mode, infrared, wiper, washer, auxiliary 1, auxiliary 2, auxiliary 3, auxiliary 4, enhanced ND filter. Even if the camera's controls are locked, key lock, you can use the RCIP100 to operate the camera. A15. About changing custom picture-related settings using the optional RCIP100 remote camera controller. If a protected custom picture file is selected on the camera, custom picture-related settings cannot be changed using the remote camera controller or remote camera control application. Adjusting custom picture-related settings using the remote camera controller or remote camera control application will change the settings registered under the currently selected custom picture file. If you want to keep an important custom picture file, backup it or select in advance a custom picture file you do not mind changing. Recording remotely using the remote camera control application. During recording, you can check the angle of view using live view and adjust various picture-related settings. For details about connection/setup and the remote camera control application, refer to the remote camera control application manual. Notes: the following functions are not available when operating the camera from the remote camera control application menu. Camera power, operational settings. Keyboard shortcuts: pan left, pan right, tilt up, tilt down, pan/tilt left and up, pan/tilt right and up, pan/tilt left and down, pan/tilt right and down. Call preset home, pan/tilt speed plus, pan/tilt speed dash, prepare trace, execute trace. 187. Recording remotely using an XC protocol compatible controller/application. PTZ direction settings, preset/trace settings, preset list, preset name, camera settings, trace camera settings page, camera controls basic tab, PTZ/focus, one shot AF, pan/tilt speed, pan/tilt preset speed level, home exposure modes other than full auto and manual exposure. Exposure ND filter, auto white balance, R gain, B gain, trace details tab, exposure enhanced ND filter, other functions. Wiper, even when camera operation is disabled by key lock, operation is possible using the remote camera control application. A15. When adjusting custom picture related settings, refer to recording remotely using the RCIP100 remote camera controller. A186. Transferring recordings to a smartphone. 188. Transferring recordings to a smartphone. You can transfer and save MP4 clips or proxy clips recorded with the camera, audio in WAV format and news metadata files to a smartphone, connected to the same network as the camera. A157. 1. Install the application on your smartphone. Download and install the smartphone application from the App Store. There is no need to repeat this step after the first time. 2. Connect the smartphone to the same network, access point, as the camera. Be sure to activate tethering in advance when using a smartphone as an access point. For details, refer to the smartphone's instruction manual. 3. Activate the desired network connection. A162. Select a connection setting with the Canon app function setting. 4. As indicated on the screen, open the application on the smartphone. 5. Operate the smartphone to connect to the camera. 6. Select OK. 7. Using the smartphone application, transfer recordings from the camera. 8. When you finish the procedure, set network settings, network to disable. You can also set network settings, connect to disconnect. When you end the connection from the smartphone, network settings network will be set to disable. Notes: when setting up a connection with the Canon app function setting using the GPE2 GPS receiver, connect the receiver to the multifunction shoe.8 189 additional information menu options. For details about how to select an item, refer to using the menus, A25. For details about each function, see the reference page or the explanation accompanying the menu entry. Setting options in boldface indicate default values. Depending on the camera's operating mode and the settings, some menu items may not be available. Such menu items do not appear or appear grayed out in menu screens. To skip directly to the page of a specific menu, V Camera Setup menu, Camera Mode Only, V Camera Setup menu, A189/Custom Picture menu, A191 Air Recording / Media Setup menu, A191 Audio Setup menu, A193 Scent Monitoring Setup menu, A194 A Assistance Functions menu, A197 Network Settings menu, A198 Assignable Buttons menu, A199 B System Setup menu, A199 Yen My Menu Customized menu, A201 Menu Item Setting Options and Additional Information. Light Metering Backlight, Standard, Spotlight. A65, AE Shift, 2.0 to plus 2.0 in 0.25 point intervals, plus or minus 0, A65, AE Response High, Normal, Low, A63, Iris Increment 1/3 stop, 1/4 stop, A64, Fine Increment On, Off Iris Limit On, Off, A63, Iris Ring Direction Reverse. Normal, A64, Shutter Increment 1/3 stop, 1/4 stop, A58, ISO/gain ISO, gain, A60, limit for auto mode when ISO/gain is set to ISO 200 to off/ISO 12800 in 1/3 stop intervals when ISO/gain is set to gain: 6 dB to off/21.0 dB in 1 dB intervals, A60. Available values may differ depending on the gamma settings. ISO/gain increment: ISO, 1 stop, 1/3 stop gain, normal, fine, A60, ISO/gain L when ISO/gain is set to ISO, 1 stop ISO 200 to ISO 12800 in 1 stop intervals, 1/3 stop ISO 200 to ISO 12800 in 1/3 stop intervals when ISO/gain is set to gain, normal, 6.0 dB to 21.0 dB in 3 dB intervals, 0.0 dB, fine, 6.0 dB to 21.0 dB in 0.5 dB intervals, 0.0 dB, A60. The initial values may differ depending on the gamma settings, BT.709 normal, BT.709 standard, ISO 200, 1 stop/1/3 stop, PQ, HLG, ISO 400, 1 stop, ISO 320, 1/3 stop, BT.709 wide DR, Canon log 3, ISO 800, 1 stop, ISO 500, 1/3 stop. Menu options: 190 ISO/gain M when ISO/gain is set to ISO 1 stop, ISO 200 to ISO 12800 in 1 stop, 1/3 stop, ISO 200 to ISO 12800 in 1/3 stop intervals when ISO/gain is set to gain, normal, 6.0 dB to 21.0 dB in 3 dB intervals, 6.0 dB, fine, 6.0 dB to 21.0 dB in 0.5 dB intervals, 6.0 dB, A60. The initial values may differ depending on the gamma settings, BT.709 normal, BT.709 standard, ISO 400, 1 stop/1/3 stop, PQ, HLG, ISO 800, 1 stop, ISO 640, 1/3 stop, BT.709 wide DR, Canon log 3, ISO 1600, 1 stop, ISO 1000, 1/3 stop. ISO/gain H when ISO/gain is set to ISO 1 Stop ISO 200 to ISO 12800 in 1 stop 1/3 stop ISO 200 to ISO 12800 in 1/3 stop intervals when ISO/gain is set to gain, normal, 6.0 dB to 21.0 dB in 3 dB intervals, 12.0 dB, fine, 6.0 dB to 21.0 dB in 0.5 dB intervals, 12.0 dB, A60. The initial values may differ depending on the gamma settings, BT.709 normal, BT.709 standard, ISO 800, 1 stop/1/3 stop, PQ, HLG, ISO 1600, 1 stop, ISO 1250, 1/3 stop, BT.709 wide DR, Canon log 3, ISO 3200, 1 stop, ISO 2000, 1/3 stop. Shockless gain high, normal, low, off high sensitivity mode on, off, A61, white balance, preset 1/4 daylight, E tungsten, E Kelvin, A66, shockless WB on, off, A66, AWB response high, normal, low, A67, C temp. Increment mired, Kelvin, A66, AF mode AF boosted MF, continuous, A74, AF frame whole area, large, small, A79, AF frame position selectable, center frame AF speed high, normal, low, A78, AF response high, normal, low face dead. And tracking on, off, A79, face detection AE on, off face AF face priority, face only eye detection on, off focus limit on, off, A81, focus ring direction reverse, normal, A74, focus ring response high, normal, low zoom speed level high, normal, low high speed zoom on, off, A71, digital zoom teleconverter 6.0x, teleconverter 3.0x, teleconverter 1.5x, digital 300x, advanced 30x, off, A69, handle zoom speed off, 1 to 16, A72, grip. Zoom speed constant, variable, user setting, A71, constant speed 1 to 16, 8, user setting user 1 to user 3 color bars on, off, A100, color bar type SMT, EBU1, Arib flicker reduction automatic. Off, A59, menu item setting options and additional information 191 menu options 1 The default value depends on the country/region of purchase. /custom picture menu, camera mode only, air recording/media setup menu conversion lens TLU58, WAU58, off, A73, diffraction correction on, off, A29, corrects the lack of sharpness on the image that may be caused at certain apertures. IS mode dynamic, standard, A82, image stabilizer on, off powered IS on, off IR rec color white, green, A112, IR light toggle, always on, always off IR slow shutter on, off menu item setting options and additional information select/file C1 BT.709 normal, C2 BT.709 wide DR, C3 BT.709 standard, C4 Canon log 3, C5 PQ, C6 HLG, C7 EOS standard, C8 EOS neutral, C9 user 09 to C20 user 20, A121, edit/file rename, A122, protect unprotect. Protect reset BT.709 normal, BT.709 wide DR, BT.709 standard, Canon log 3, PQ, HLG, EOS standard, EOS neutral. User, BT.709 normal, detailed custom picture settings refer to the tables in the available custom picture settings section, A125, save/file, A124, copy to SD card B, load from SD card B menu item setting options and additional information initialize media SD card A, SD card B, A32, System frequency 59.94 Hz, 50.00 Hz 1, A54, main rec format XFAVC YCC 422 10-bit, MP4, HEVC, YCC 422 10-bit, MP4, HEVC, YCC 420 10-bit, MP4, H.264, YCC 428-bit, A54, main resolution XFAVC. 3840x2160 intraframe, 3840x2160 long GOP, 1920x1080 intraframe, 1920x1080 long GOP, 1280x720 long GOP MP4, 3840x2160, 1920x1080, 1280x720, A54, frame rate when system frequency is set to 59.94 Hz, 59.94 I*, 59.94 P1, 29.97 P. 23.98 P when system frequency is set to 50.00 Hz, 50.00 I*, 50.00 P1, 25.00 P*, XFAVC clips only. Not available when slow and fast motion recording is activated. A54, available options vary depending on the main resolution. Bitrate for 10 Mbps, 300 Mbps, 250 Mbps, 240 Mbps, A54, available values may differ depending on the main resolution and frame rate settings. Menu item setting options and additional information. Menu options 192 main audio format, MP4, AAC 16-bit 2CH, LPCM 16-bit 4CH, A93, recording mode normal recording, slow and fast motion, SNF clip/audio, wave, pre-recording, main/continuous rec, frame recording, interval recording, A35, 107, slow and fast frame rate, A107, available options and default value vary depending on other settings. See the tables on the reference page. Continuous recording rec, STBY, A111, frame rec, frame rate 1, 3, 6, 9, A109, interval rec, time interval 1 SEC, 2 SEC, 3 SEC, 5 SEC, 10 SEC, 15 SEC, 30 SEC, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, A110, interval rec, frame rate 1, 3, 6, 9 second card rec functions off, main/proxy rec, main/sub rec, main/audio rec, relay recording, double slot recording, A35, rec format XFAVC YCC 422 10-bit, XFAVC YCC 428-bit, MP4, HEVC, YCC 422 10-bit, MP4, HEVC, YCC 420 10-bit, MP4, H.264, YCC 428-bit, A55, 56. Available options vary depending on the main recording format and the second card recording functions. Resolution/bitrate main recording, XFAVC YCC 422 10-bit, 3840x2160 intraframe, 3840x2160 long GOP, 1920x1080 intraframe, 1920x1080 long GOP, 1280x720 long GOP, 1920x1080 50 Mbps. L.GOP, 1280x720 24 Mbps. L.GOP main recording, XFAVC YCC 428-bit, 1920x1080 35 Mbps. L.GOP, 1280x720 24 Mbps. L.GOP, 1280x720 17 Mbps. L.GOP main recording, XFAVC MP4, H.264, YCC 428-bit, 3840x2160, 1920x1080, 1280x720, 1920x1080 35 Mbps, 1920 x 1089 mbps, 1280 x 729 mbps, 1280 x 728 mbps, 1280 x 726 mbps. Main recording, MP4, HEVC, YCC4 22 10-bit, 1920 x 1080, 1280 x 720, 1920 x 1080 50 mbps, 1280 x 720 12 mbps. Main recording, MP4, HEVC, YCC4 20 10-bit, 1920 x 1080, 1280 x 720, 1920 x 1080 35 mbps, 1280 x 729 mbps. Main recording, MP4, H.264, YCC4 28-bit, 1920 x 1080, 1280 x 720, 1920 x 1080 35 mbps, 1920 x 1089 mbps, 1280 x 729 mbps, 1280 x 728 mbps, 1280 x 726 mbps, A55. 56. Available options vary depending on the main recording format, the second card recoding functions and the recording format. Frame rate same as main recording, 59.94i, 50.00i, A56. Audio format, MP4, AAC 16-bit 2ch, LPCM 16-bit 4ch, A93, proxy rec color conversion conform to custom picture, BT.709, A55, menu item setting options and additional information 193 menu options 1 The default value depends on the country/region of purchase. Audio setup menu metadata camera index A to Z, A37, real number, clip number 001 to 999 user-defined string up to 5 characters, Canon, A38, scene, take scene description up to 16 characters / take description up to 8 characters, A106, add XML file on, off, A104, 105, XML file format news metadata, user memo news metadata off, list of available news metadata files news metadata reset all, A106, user memo off, list of available user memo files. A104, country code, organization, user code identifiers up to 4 characters, 00 _ default for organization only, country code. This identifier is the country code defined by ISO 3166-1 and is to be entered starting from the left. Organization, this identifier represents the organization that owns or operates the camera and can be obtained by registering with the SMPT registration authority. If the organization is not registered, enter 0000. User code, this identifier designates the user. Leave this blank if organization is set to 0000. Add /file on, off, A124, clip numbering reset, continuous, A37, rec command, ext rec, on, off, A147, HDMI time code on, off, A147, MP4 clip /photo numbering reset, continuous, A38, volume label Canon, Canon plus metadata, A33, OSD recording time code /date/time, date/time, time code, time, date, off, A43, selects the on-screen displays that will be recorded as they appear on the screen. Cannot be set while the camera mode screen is rotated. OSD recording position top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, A43, selects the position of the on-screen displays that will be recorded as they appear on the screen. Cannot be set while the camera mode screen is rotated. Menu item setting options and additional information audio input selection CH1/CH2, CH3/CH4 input terminals, mic terminal, built-in mic for CH3/CH4 when a compatible optional accessory is attached to the multifunction shoe, input terminals, camera, mic terminal, built-in mic, multifunction shoe, A95, CH2 input 2, input 1, Built-in mic 1, mic terminal 2 1 only when recording with 4 channels and audio input selection CH3/CH4 is set to built-in mic, or when recording with 2 channels. 2 only when recording with 4 channels and audio input selection CH3/CH4 is set to mic terminal, or when recording with 2 channels. A95, CH1/CH2 ALC link, CH3/CH4 ALC link linked, separated. A97, menu item setting options and additional information menu options 194% monitoring setup menu audio rec level CH2, audio rec level CH3, audio rec level CH4, audio rec level CH3/CH4 automatic, manual, A97, CH2 level, CH3 level, CH4 level, CH3/CH4 level 0 to 150, input 1 mic trimming, input 2 mic trimming plus 12 dB, plus 6 dB, 0 dB, 6 dB, 12 dB, A98, input 1 mic ATT, input 2 mic ATT. On, off, A98, input 1 mic low cut, input 2 mic low cut off, LC1, LC2, A99, input reference level, 18 dB, 20 dB, A98, input limiter on, off, A97, mic ATT. On, off, A98, mic low cut off, LC1. LC2, A99, mic input mic, with power supply, mic, line, A95, built-in mic sensitivity normal, high, A98, built-in mic ATT. On, off, A98, built-in mic low cut off, LC1, LC2, A99, 1 kHz tone, 12 dB, 18 dB, 20 dB, off, A100, headphone volume off, 1 to 15, 8, A136, speaker volume off, 1 to 15, 8, in media mode only. This setting is an alternative way to adjust the built-in speaker's volume. Monitor channels CH1/CH2, CH1/CH1, CH2/CH2, CH1+2/CH1+2, CH3/CH4, CH3/CH3, CH4/CH4, CH3+4/CH3+4, CH1/CH3, CH2/CH4, CH1+3/CH2+4, A155, HDMI out channel CH1/CH2, CH3/CH4 assign CH2 switch and dial CH2, CH3, A92, adjust the audio levels for channel CH2 or CH3 using the CH2 audio level switch and dial. Menu. Item setting options and additional information LCD brightness, LCD contrast, 50 to plus 50, plus or minus 0, A23, LCD color, 20 to plus 20, plus or minus 0, LCD sharpness 1 to 4, 2, LCD luminance normal, plus 1, plus 2 LCD mirror image on, off VF brightness, VF contrast, 50 to plus 50, plus or minus 0, A29, VF color, 20 to plus 20, plus or minus 0, VF sharpness 1 to 4, 2, VF luminance normal, high VF eye sensor on, off, A29, run VF at X2 speed on, off, A29, menu item setting options and additional information 195 menu options B&W image, LCD, B&W image, VF, B&W image, SDI, B&W image, HDMI on, off, A23, 29, OSD output, SDI, OSD output, HDMI on, off, A147, OSD orientation, LCD/VF 0 degrees, 90 degrees left, 90 degrees right, A48, OSD orientation, SDI. OSD orientation, HDMI link to LCD/VF, 90 degrees left, 90 degrees right DISP level 1 all displays, periv. Border, A46, DISP level 2 main recording displays, only FUNC/menu DISP level 3 only rec/STBY, no displays apply peripheral border DISP level 1/2/3, DISP level 1 half, DISP level 1, DISP level 2, DISP level 3, off, A47, custom display 1, A43, light metering, custom picture on, off zoom indicator bar, numerical zoom position, grip zoom speed, user, object distance always on, normal, off ND filter only warnings, normal, off focus mode, key. Lock, full auto, IR rec, white balance, AE shift on, off exposure bar on, disable during AE, off iris, ISO/gain, shutter, peaking, teleconverter, conversion lens, magnification, LUT, image stabilizer on. Off menu item setting options and additional information menu options 196 custom display 2, A43, remaining battery, remaining rec time only warnings, normal, off recording mode, interval counter, genlock, time code, reel/clip number on, off photo only warnings, normal, off temperature/fan, resolution/color sampling, frame rate, output terminal status, OSD output, rec command, ext rec, user memo, user bit, OSD recording, monitor channels. Audio level indicator, multifunction shoe, network functions, USB host, GPS on, off on, normal, show the icon/on-screen display always or whenever the necessary conditions are triggered. Only warnings, show the icon/on-screen display only when a critical level is reached. The default setting for items marked with an asterisk, is off. Date/time, time, date, off custom display, A134, these settings are available only in media mode and determine whether the following on-screen displays will appear on the playback image. Audio level indicator on, off date/time, camera data on, off audio level indicator, the audio level meter, clips only. Date/time, the date and time when the clip/photo was recorded. Camera data, the aperture value, shutter speed, and ISO speed/gain value used to record the clip, clips only. Displayed units meters, feet 1 changes the distance units used in camera displays between meters and feet. OSD opacity, LCD, OSD opacity, VF, OSD opacity, SDI, OSD opacity, HDMI on, off, A148, OSD opacity level 75%, 62.5%, 50%, 37.5%, 25% OSD opacity, APPL screens all, only rec/playback screens tally OSD, LCD, tally OSD, VF, tally OSD, SDI, tally OSD, HDMI on, off, A47, tally OSD settings rec/tally in, PGM/PVW, rec, tally in, PGM/PVW, tally OSD position frame, top, bottom LUT, SDI on, off, A150, LUT selection, SDI BT.709, BT.2020, DCI. PQ, HLG, user LUT1 * to user LUT4 * available only when user LUTs have been registered in the camera. View Assist, LCD, View Assist, VF on, off, A150, select View Assist, LCD, select View Assist, VF BT.709, HDR Assist. 800%, HDR Assist. 400%, A150, menu item setting options and additional information 197 menu options 1 The default value depends on the country/region of purchase. A assistance functions menu View Assist, HDMI on, BT.709, off, A150, HLG color BT.2100, vivid, A152, gain for HDR SDR/CONV. 7.5 dB to plus 7.5 dB in 0.5 dB intervals, 3.0 dB, A154, user LUT1 to user LUT4, A150, register list of available files. Color space, output, BT.709 gamut, BT.2020 gamut, do not convert range, output, full range, narrow range delete, rename up to 8 characters. Reset all user LUTs user LUT info range, SDI, A148, during Canon log output full range, narrow range during HDR output full range, narrow range range, HDMI, A148, during Canon log output full range priority, narrow range during HDR output full range priority, narrow range menu item setting options and additional information focus guide on, off, A75, peaking, LCD, peaking, VF, peaking, SDI, peaking, HDMI on, off, A76, peaking 1, peaking 2. Peaking 1 color white, red, yellow, blue gain off, 1 to 15, 8, frequency 1 to 4, 2, peaking 2 color white, red, yellow, blue gain off, 1 to 15, 15, frequency 1 to 4, 1, magnification on, off, A76, man. Output LCD, VF, SDI, HDMI BNW during man. On, off. False color, LCD, false color, VF, false color, SDI, false color, HDMI on, off, A85, false color index zebra, LCD, zebra, VF, zebra, SDI, zebra, HDMI on, off, A85, zebra 1, zebra 2, zebra 1 plus 2 zebra 1 level 5 plus or minus 5% to 95 plus or minus 5% in 5 percentage point intervals, 70 plus or minus 5%, zebra 2 level 0% to 100% in 5 percentage point intervals, 100%. Menu item setting options and additional information menu options 198 network settings menu WFM, LCD, WFM, VF, WFM, SDI, WFM, HDMI on, off, A101, WFM function waveform monitor, vector scope waveform settings, A101, position right, left type line, line plus spot, select line, RGB, YPBPR gain 1x, 2x vertical scale for HDR IR. PQ/HLGY position 0%, 15%, 30%, 45%, 50% select line 0 to 719 in one line increments, 360, 0 to 1079 in one line increments, 540, 0 to 2158 in two line increments, 1080. Available options depend on the resolution and operating mode, camera/media mode. Vector scope settings, A102, position right, left type normal, spot gain 1x, 2x markers, LCD, markers, VF, markers, SDI, markers, HDMI on, off, A83, center marker yellow, blue, green, red, black, gray, white, off, A83, center marker type cross 1, cross 2, dot 1, dot 2 horizontal marker, vertical marker, grid marker yellow, blue, green, red, black, gray, white, off aspect marker yellow, blue, green, red, black, gray, white, mask 100%, mask 75%, mask 50%, mask 25%, off, A84, marker aspect ratio 4:3, 13:9, 14:9, 16:9, 1.375:1, 1.66:1, 1.75:1, 1.85:1, 1.90:1, 2.35:1, 2.39:1, 916, custom marker custom ASP. Ratio 1.00:1 to 9.99:1, 1.00:1, safe area marker yellow, blue, green, red, black, gray, white, mask 100%, mask 75%, mask 50%, mask 25%, off, A84, basis for marker safe area whole picture, selected aspect marker safe area percent 80%, side length, 88%, side length, 90%, side length, 93%, side length, 95%, side length, 80%, area, 90%, area, 92.5%, area, 95%, area, user marker 1, user marker 2 yellow, blue, green, red, black, gray, white, off, A84, user marker 1 size, user marker 2 size 2x2 to 1920x1080 only even numbers, 100x100, user marker 1 position, user marker 2 position, 960, 540, 2, 960, 540, 0, 0, menu item setting options and additional information network enable, disable, A162, connect disconnect, set 1 to set 20 menu item setting options and additional information 199 menu options assignable buttons menu following are the default settings for each assignable button. For a complete list of the functions that can be assigned, refer to the detailed table, A118. B System Setup Menu Connection Settings Set 1 to Set 20, A171, check settings change with wizard select existing settings name file name up to 12 characters delete settings new con setting, wizard, FTP transfer, IP streaming, browser remote, Canon app, XC protocol, A163, activate IP streaming enable, disable, A177, FTP transfer all clips in media mode only, A176, IPv4 address name displays the current IPv4 address information. View error info displays the latest network related error message. Advanced settings, A172, communication settings NW1 to NW25 function settings mode 1 to mode 25 browser remote settings username/password, port no. HTTP, port no. HTTPS, HTTPS, A174, XC protocol settings authentication method, username/password, port no. HTTP, A166, 802.1x authentication setup wizard, check settings, delete settings, A170, nickname user defined string up to 16 characters, XF605, A170, menu item setting options and additional information camera 1, powered IS, 2, peaking, all, 3, zebra, all, 4, WFM, all, 5, review recording, 6, magnification, 7, magnification, media mode, index, 8, FUNC, 9, status, 10, DISP, 11. None, browser remote/XCPROT. A117, link to camera enable, disable 1, magnification, 2, peaking, all, 3, zebra, all, 4, WFM, all remote A/B, A117, link to camera enable, disable 1, magnification, 2, peaking, all, 3, zebra, all, 4, WFM, all menu item setting options and additional information reset all settings, assignable buttons these settings reset the following camera settings to default values/settings. All settings, all the camera settings except for the hour meter. Assignable buttons, only the assignable buttons. Transfer menu //, A130, save to camera, to SD card B load from camera, from SD card B menu item setting options and additional information menu options 200 time zone list of world time zones. UTC-5 o'clock New York or UTC +1 o'clock Central Europe 1, A24, date/time date format YMD, YMD/24H, MDY, MDY/24H, DMY, DMY/24H1 language H Deutsch, English, Espanol, Francais, Italiano, Polski, Portuguese, A24, remote term. New protocol, Remote B, Standard plus RCV100, RCV100, Remote B, RCV100, Remote A, Standard, A113, New protocol. Refers to a Canon proprietary communication protocol that makes connecting to certain accessories possible. HDMI output signal 3840x2160p, 1920x1080p, 1920x1080i, 1280x720p, A147, link to HDMI monitor on, off SDI output on, off, A146, SDI output signal 3840x2160p, 1920x1080p, 1920x1080i, PSF, 1280x720p, 720x480i * or 720x576i * depends on the system frequency. 3G SDI mapping level A, level B, A146, SD resize on output letterbox, side crop, squeeze, A146, timecode mode preset, Reagan. A86, timecode run rec run, free run timecode DF/NDF NDF, A87, set timecode 00:00:00:00 to 59.94 Hz, 23:59:59:29 Hz, 23:59:59:24, A86, TC in/out in, out, A89, 90, user bit recording mode internal, external, A89, user bit type setting, time, date, A88, G-Lock/sync term 2 HD sync output, Genlock input, A90, 91, Genlock adjustment 2, 1023 to +1023, 000, A90, the phase difference between the external Genlock signal and the camera is initially set to 0. This setting allows you to adjust it within the range of approximate ±0.4 H, 1023 to 1023. To set a 4-digit adjustment value, set the first field to 10 or 10. Sync scan mode P, PSF, A91, key lock all buttons, all except rec button, A15, rec button disable, enables or disables the use of the rec buttons. Assign button 11 as rec on, off, A117, when this setting is set to on, assignable button camera 11's function changes to rec and cannot be changed. This turns assignable button 11 to an alternative rec button. On-screen rec/STBY button on, off, A42, when this setting is set to on, the recording operation indicator, rec/STBY, on the camera mode screen becomes an on-screen button you can touch to start/stop recording. Touch screen response normal, low, A23, power supply LED on, off, A14, when this setting is set to off, the power indicator will not illuminate even when the camera is powered on. Tally lamp, front, tally lamp, rear, on, off, A14, 17, when this setting is set to on, the tally lamp illuminates/flashes according to the camera and tally input status. Menu item setting options and additional information.